Chapter 1. Tang Zheng, you poor bastard, quickly hand over the money you stole. A few days ago I heard that your grandfather got sick. You must have stolen the money to treat your dead grandfather's illness. For a poor bastard like you to stay in our class is simply a disgrace. Do you still think you are the number one student in the city? Now you are the number one idiot from the bottom. The school should have expelled you long ago. Tang Zheng's face turned red as he bit his lips, raised his neck and firmly said, I didn't steal the money. Sophistry, if it wasn't you then who stole it? You were the only one who stayed in the classroom during the exercises. Moreover, we are all rich people, so how could we care about a few $100s? You are the only one who is poor, if it wasn't you then who? Don't tell me the money can grow legs and run away. Xiao Fei, you are speaking nonsense. Tang Zheng's eyes were red. It was true that he was poor and his grandfather was sick, but he never stole from a young age. His grandfather taught him from a young age that even poor people have their own integrity. Not stealing or robbing, living with a straight back is the foundation of being a person. Tang Zheng was the child of a poor family and could be called a genius. From a young age, he displayed a unique learning ability. That year, he was the number one student in the city and was accepted by Pengcheng International School. Furthermore, all tuition and fees were waived. Tang Zheng lived up to everyone's expectations. For the past 2 years, he always maintained the number one student in the city and was Pengcheng International School's living signboard. However, not long after the start of the 3rd year of high school, he was attacked and injured in the head on his way home. From then on, he was left with a chronic illness. As long as he thought about a problem, he would have a headache and his memory was extremely poor. Originally he could easily remember the knowledge, but now he had completely forgotten it. This situation continued until now. Now that he was in the 2nd semester of his 3rd year, he still did not improve. Every time he took a mock exam, he was the last in his grade. He fell from heaven to hell, causing those who were close to him to stay away and those who were jealous of him to rejoice in his misfortune. However, Tang Zheng did not give up. He tried again and again to study hard, but every time he had a headache that almost made him faint. During today's class exercise, $600 of class pay disappeared without a trace. At that time, he didn't do any exercises because of his headache, so the class monitor, Xiao Fei, insisted that he stayed in the classroom and stole the class pay. Xiao Fei, Tang Zheng has always been an honest person. How could he steal money? A voice that sounded like the cry of a skylark rang out. Fang Shishir walked over. Tang Zheng cast a grateful glance at her. Fang Shishir smiled, like 100 flowers blooming, making everyone's breathing quicken. Not only did Fang Shishir come from a prestigious family, but her academic performance was also outstanding. She used to be 2nd in the school, but ever since Tang Zheng was injured, she became the 1st in the school. However, the most eye-catching thing about her was her beauty. She was one of the 2 school beauties of Pengcheng International School and was the dream lover of many students. Xiao Fei liked Fang Shishir and had once publicly pursued her but was rejected. However, he did not give up and had always secretly coveted her. Seeing her defend Tang Zheng, Xiao Fei's heart was filled with jealousy. Xiao Fei coldly said, Is he an honest person? How come I don't know? How many poor people are honest? Every day you see on the news how poor people steal chickens and touch dogs for money. Isn't there a lot of breaking the law? Yes, what Xiao Fei said is correct. The crowd echoed, filled with righteous indignation. This was a private school for nobles. In the entire school, other than Tang Zheng who was a commoner, everyone else had a certain amount of wealth and had a natural sense of superiority. Tang Zheng angrily glared, Xiao Fei, even poor people have dignity. If I say I didn't steal, then I didn't steal. Ah, you still dare to yell at me. Poor people are poor. You don't have any manners at all. What, you still dare to glare at me? Do you want to hit me? Hit me, hit me. Xiao Fei stretched his head over and proudly said. Everyone else looked at Tang Zheng with ridicule. He had always been a good student and never caused trouble. In everyone's eyes, he was a bit weak. Moreover, Qiao Fei was tall and strong. He was at least 1.8 meters while Tang Zheng was only 1.7 meters. The difference was too great, so he wouldn't dare to make a move. Fang Shishir wrinkled her delicate nose and advised, Qiao Fei, we're all classmates. Don't be like this. I didn't do anything. Didn't Tang Zheng want to hit me? I let him hit me. Qiao Fei proudly said. He was sure that Tang Zheng wouldn't dare to make a move. This would make him seem mighty and extraordinary. Tang Zheng, don't mind him. I believe that you didn't steal the money. Fang Shishir advised, but was immediately stunned. She saw a large fist smash into Qiao Fei's face. Ah! Qiao Fei screamed as he covered his nose. Blood flowed out from between his fingers. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. They stared at Tang Zheng as if they were looking at a ghost. He actually dared to make a move. Beat him up for this, Daddy, fiercely beat him up. Qiao Fei roared as several of his lackeys rushed towards Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng hurriedly protected his head. The fists were like rain falling on a banana leaf. Not only did he not scream, he clenched his teeth and stared at Qiao Fei with bloodshot eyes. Kill him. This poor bastard. Not only will I kill him, I will also kill his undying grandfather. Qiao Fei angrily roared. Ever since he was young, he had lived like a prince. When had he ever suffered like this? Not to mention it was in front of Fang Shishir. He had lost a lot of face. If he didn't get back at her, how would he survive? Tang Zheng's eyes widened. His grandfather was his only family. If anyone dared to go against his grandfather, he wouldn't allow it. Roar! He was like a leopard breaking through the encirclement and pouncing onto Qiao Fei. There was a large difference in height between the two, but Tang Zheng had been training for many years, so his physical fitness was much better than the pampered Qiao Fei. His strength was also much greater, so he used both his fists and legs. Not long after, Qiao Fei turned into a pig head. Everyone was stunned. Tang Zheng, how did he suddenly become so fierce? Fang Shishir's mouth was wide open. Looking at Qiao Fei's pig head, she faintly felt relieved. Qiao Fei often harassed her and annoyed her to no end. What are you doing? Stop! Suddenly, a thunderous roar rang out. Everyone's heart trembled. The old witch had appeared. The old witch was their class teacher Wu Zuehong. She was around 50 years old. Her waist was round and her legs were thick. She was exceptionally fierce and everyone was afraid of her. Tang Zheng, what are you doing? Wu Zuehong's anger rose. Tang Zheng stopped punching. Qiao Fei immediately crawled up. He stared at Tang Zheng in panic and said, You dare hit me. What is going on here? Wu Zuehong's angry eyes swept over and asked in a dignified manner. Teacher, Tang Zheng stole the class fee and even beat someone up. A few of the lackeys hurriedly added fuel to the fire. I didn't steal the money. Tang Zheng stubbornly retorted. Wu Zuehong immediately deeply wrinkled her eyebrows. She looked at Tang Zheng with displeasure. Previously, she thought that she had picked up a treasure. After all, he was always the first in the city. As a class teacher, she felt honored. But from the bottom of her heart, she looked down on the poor Tang Zheng. After Tang Zheng fell from the altar and became the last in the class, her attitude towards Tang Zheng completely changed. She did not have any good feelings towards him. This was because not only did Tang Zheng not bring any benefits to her, but he also became a burden to her. She had always been requesting the school to transfer Tang Zheng to another class or to expel him. But the school had not made a final decision. Wu Zuehong suddenly had an idea. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get rid of this burden. The rest of you go back to your seats and study. A few students come and help Qiao Fei to the infirmary. Tang Zheng, you come with me. Wu Zuehong coldly ordered. This time Tang Zheng is in trouble. I don't know how the old witch will deal with him. Someone said in Schadenfreude. Looking at Tang Zheng's back, Fang Shishi's expression was complicated. She lightly bit her teeth and ran after him. Teacher, I believe that Tang Zheng did not steal the money. There must be a misunderstanding. Wu Zuihong stopped and amiably looked at Fang Shishi and said, Shishi, money will not grow wings and fly away. Since so many people are saying that Tang Zheng stole it, then it must be true. You should quickly go back to class. No, there must be a misunderstanding. Fang Shishi insisted. Wu Zuihong's face sank, but still amiably said, Shishi, you must believe in teacher. Teacher will take care of this. Fang Shishi looked at Tang Zheng and found that Tang Zheng was clenching his teeth and did not say a word. It was clear that he had suffered a great grievance. Wu Zuihong did not want to say anything more and directly brought Tang Zheng downstairs. Tang Zheng, not only are your grades bad, you are dragging the class down. Now you are stealing money and hitting people. Tell me, what are you trying to do? Is this something a student should do? At the bottom of the school building, Wu Zuihong fiercely criticized. Teacher, I did not steal the money. Xiao Fei slandered me so I hit him. If he slandered you, why didn't he slander the other students? A righteous man is not afraid of a crooked shadow. Wu Zuihong said with contempt. Tang Zheng angrily glared at her. As a teacher, she actually did not investigate before jumping to conclusions. He used to respect her so much, but he was simply blind. You don't need to go to class today. Go and clean the basement of the laboratory. Wu Zuihong looked at him with disgust and waved her hand. Ghost building? Tang Zheng was shocked. Wu Zuihong's eyebrows jumped and said, Nonsense, what ghost building? If you dare to speak nonsense again, I will make you call your parents. Tang Zheng swallowed his saliva and did not speak. His grandfather was already sick, so how could he come to school? Moreover, he could not tell him about his situation at school. Otherwise, he would definitely be very sad and worsen his condition. He did not dare to tell his grandfather that his grades had dropped because he was his grandfather's pride. He did not have the heart to make his grandfather sad, so he always strived to overcome the difficulties and return to the peak so that his grandfather could continue to be happy. The laboratory building was called the Ghost Building by the students. It was not out of thin air. A few years ago, a horrifying incident occurred here. A female student suddenly died in the basement of the laboratory building. It was said that her blood was sucked dry and she turned into a mummified corpse. In the end, the police were unable to find anything and the school even invited a senior monk to perform a ritual. In the following years, there were no more strange occurrences. However, the legend of the ghost building spread like wildfire. Unless it was for a laboratory class, no one was willing to come here. Wu Zuihong wanted him to clean the basement. It was clear that she did not have good intentions and wanted to scare him or make him end up like that female student. I'm not scared. Tang Zheng's courage was not small. Wu Zuihong deliberately wanted to scare him. If he cowered, then wouldn't that be fulfilling her intentions? Creak. The basement door was pushed open and a damp and musty smell rushed out. Tang Zheng shivered as the basement was much colder than the outside. Chapter 2. The basement was filled with abandoned experimental equipment, covered in a thick layer of dust and scattered spider webs. Tang Zheng frowned. There was no point in cleaning this place, the old witch just wanted to prank him. In order to prevent more rumors, he picked up the broom and started sweeping. An hour later, his body was slightly sweaty, and the basement looked brand new. The ghost tower is only so, looks like it's only there to scare cowards. Tang Zheng curled his lips, there was no longer any fear in his heart. Kid, you're finally here. A soft voice suddenly sounded, giving him a fright. Who's there? All the hair on his body stood up, he looked around, but there was no one. I must be too nervous, I'm hallucinating. Kid, I've been waiting for you for a long time. The voice sounded again. Tang Zhang's face instantly turned green. This was definitely not a hallucination, this voice was real. You. Who are you? Don't hide, or else I'll show you. Tang Zhang's voice trembled. People could scare people to death, although he was brave, he still knew fear. Tian Chanzi, you want to turn the tables? You're dreaming. On the other hand, a gloomy voice sounded from outside. Just hearing this voice was enough to make one's hair stand on end. Yin Demon, what are you doing? Ha, of course I'm going to kill him, so that you'll never be able to turn the tables. Don't even think about it. Hee, a few years ago I absorbed the mysterious Yin energy, and these few years I've completely refined it. You're no longer my opponent, do you think you can stop me? Kid, run. The voice from before roared. Tang Zheng was already sure that this wasn't some prank. Could there really be a ghost? He wanted to run, but he found that he couldn't move. It was as if someone had cast a body-freezing spell on him. Why can't I move? Tang Zheng was terrified, his eyes wide open. Ha, of course you can't move. You've been immobilized by me. It would be strange if you could move. The cold voice said proudly, Tian Chanzi, I'm going to devour his soul and break your last hope, Kaka. Yin Demon, you're too despicable. Ha, I'm a demon. Being despicable is in my nature. Ah! Tang Zheng screamed. His brain felt as if it had been pierced by a needle. The headache was 10,000 times worse than usual. He instantly lost consciousness and fainted. Two divine senses drilled into Tang Zheng's brain and quickly rushed into the depths of his brain. One was black and the other was green. The black divine sense was faster and quickly reached the central nervous system of Tang Zheng's brain. Tian Chanzi, you failed. You'll soon disappear from this world, hee. The Yin demon laughed sinisterly. Whoosh! The black divine sense drilled into Tang Zheng's nervous system. The heavens want me, Tian Chanzi. Tian Chanzi sorrowfully cried out. After so many years, he finally met a profound young body. He thought he could use him to recover his strength and fight the Yin demon to the death. He didn't expect that the Yin demon would be nourished by the profound Yin body a few years ago and surpass him in strength. This time, the Yin demon was one step ahead of him. As long as Tang Zheng dies, Tian Chanzi will no longer have a chance to make a comeback. Ah! How could this be? This brat doesn't have the profound yang body. He, actually has the 9 yang saint body. The sudden turn of events caused the Yin demon to turn pale with fright as he roared. He wanted to retreat from Tang Zheng's central nervous system but found that a vast amount of pure yang energy had wrapped around him. 9 yang saint body. Tian Chanzi couldn't help but cry out. The 9 yang saint body only exists in legends. He didn't expect to encounter it. The 9 yang saint body and the profound yang body are both extremely pure yang bodies. However, the 9 yang saint body is even purer and contains a powerful amount of pure yang energy. Ha, Yin demon, you reap what you sow, you're dead for sure. Tian Chanzi excitedly said. The Yin demon's cultivation technique is mainly Yin energy. Pure yang energy is his nemesis. However, he thought he could deal with the profound yang body, so he drilled into Tang Zheng's body to kill him. He wanted to prevent Tian Chanzi from absorbing the pure yang energy. Tian Chanzi's cultivation technique is of the yang energy. If he absorbs the pure yang energy, his strength will greatly increase and threaten the Yin demon's safety. Tian Chanzi, I refuse to accept this. How could this brat have the 9 yang saint body? The Yin demon roared in a heart-wrenching manner. Yin demon, you great devil. This is the will of heaven. The heavens want to destroy you. Tian Chanzi said. Ah! I don't accept. The yelling stopped and everything returned to normal. The Yin demon's divine sense was completely refined by the pure yang energy. Tian Chanzi's divine sense no longer dared to advance. Just as he was about to withdraw from Tang Zheng's brain, he found a powerful suction force firmly imprisoning him. What's going on? Could it be that he still wants to deal with me? Tian Chanzi recklessly charged forward but found that he had no way to break free. This. How could the nine-yang saint body have such great power? It's easy to enter, but difficult to leave. My divine sense actually became a bit stronger. Suddenly, Tian Chanzi found something strange. It seems that the pure yang energy did not harm him. Instead, it strengthened his divine sense. Tang Zheng opened his eyes in a daze. The piercing pain had already disappeared. The scene before he lost consciousness was still fresh in his mind. Ghost, there's a ghost. His whole body was ice cold. That strange feeling made even an atheist like him afraid. Little brat, I'm not a ghost. You don't need to be afraid. Tian Chanzi's voice rang out. You. Who are you, where are you? Tang Zheng stuttered as he looked around but did not find a single person. I'm in your brain. Brain. See? Tang Zheng swallowed his saliva. Don't worry, I won't harm you. Tian Chanzi gently said. In his heart, he thought that if you don't deal with me then everything will be fine. How could I harm you? If you don't harm me, why did you run into my brain? Do you think I'm an idiot? Tang Zheng silently cursed. You don't believe me? No, I believe you. Tang Zheng still did not understand the situation. He decided to first calm the other party down. Wasn't there a Yin demon before? How come there's only one Tian Chanzi now? The Yin demon has already died by your hands. Tian Chanzi's words saw through his thoughts. Died by my hands? Tang Zheng was dumbstruck. That's not right. How did he know what I was thinking? I'm in your brain. Whatever you're thinking, I know. In the future, you don't need to speak when you communicate with me. We can directly communicate using our divine sense. Tian Chanzi explained. Then hurry up and get out of my brain. Tang Zheng did not like the feeling of being naked in front of others. I can't get out. Tian Chanzi bitterly smiled and said, my divine sense is currently weak. It's been imprisoned by your nine-yang saint body. Unless I recover my strength, or if you're strong enough to control the nine-yang saint body's pure yang energy and let me out, I can only stay in your brain. To be honest, he did not want to come out for the time being. His divine sense was weak and could very well disappear. Tang Zheng's pure yang energy could nourish his divine sense. Tang Zheng's face turned bitter. What the hell is this? I'm a cultivator from 1,000 years ago. I have the ability to move mountains and fill seas. Don't worry, I'll temporarily reside in your brain. I won't treat you unfairly. I'll teach you cultivation techniques and let you have the ability to transcend heaven and earth. Cultivation techniques? Tang Zheng's heart moved. He originally thought that it was just a legend. He never thought that it really existed. Since the other party could not come out for the time being, he could only accept it. His heart could not help but be moved by the cultivation techniques. Of course, I'll let you become a strong person. A true strong person. Tian Chanzi solemnly vowed. Tang Zheng had the nine-yang saint body. If he accepted him as a disciple, his future would be limitless. He would then have the opportunity to return to the sect. Originally, he was an abandoned disciple who was expelled from the sect. His life's greatest wish was to return to the sect. If he had a disciple with the nine-yang saint body, that would be his greatest asset to return to the sect. First, help me get something. Then I'll teach you a cultivation technique. Tang Zheng followed the instructions and broke a piece of the floor in the corner, revealing an ancient sheepskin scroll embedded in the stone. On top of it was written the words, Ancient Clear Heaven Scroll. What is this? Good stuff. You keep it first. I'll tell you later. First, I'll help you refine the blood clots in your brain. Then I'll teach you a cultivation technique. Tian Chanzi had just probed him and found that many of the meridians in his brain were blocked by blood clots. They had to be opened before he could cultivate. Blood clots? Yes. Has your brain been injured before? Tang Zheng immediately thought of the injury from half a year ago. Could it be that his headache was caused by the blood clots? Don't worry, this is just a small problem. I'll heal you, but I'll consume a lot of energy. So I'll have to sleep for a while. You don't have to be too worried. I'll wake up soon. Thank you. Tang Zheng felt a burst of emotion. After his injury was healed, he could return to his peak state. He wanted to teach those who looked down on him a good lesson. A warm feeling enveloped his brain, and he felt a tranquility that he had never felt before. A moment later, this feeling disappeared. He felt his brain was incomparably clear. There was no feeling of chaos. Is it really all good? He carefully recalled the knowledge he had learned before. The knowledge was like a tide. He no longer had a headache. It's all good, it's really all good. He excitedly danced, Tian Chanzi, I'm really all good. But no one answered him. He then remembered that Tian Chanzi had consumed a lot of energy and had gone into hibernation. Ancient Clear Heaven Scroll. What is this thing that he values so much? Tang Zheng's gaze fell on the sheepskin scroll. The 4 words seemed to have a magical power that attracted him. Chapter 3. The ancient Clear Heaven Scroll was cryptic and profound, and it took Tang Zheng half an hour before he was able to read through the 1,000 words. He was about to put the ancient scroll to the side when he suddenly felt a small stream of air slowly flowing through his meridians. It was warm and comfortable, making him feel an unprecedented subtle state. How did I wake up so quickly? Tian Chanzi's voice sounded again, very surprised. You're awake. Tang Zheng thought he would be sleeping for a long time, he did not expect him to wake up so quickly. See. How can there be true energy in your body, what did you just do? Tian Chanzi looked as if he had seen a ghost, inexplicably screaming in horror. True energy? That stream of air was true energy. Tang Zheng was shocked. I didn't do anything, I just read the ancient Clear Heaven Scroll once. You cultivated the ancient Clear Heaven Scroll? How can this be? I and the Yin demon have studied the ancient Clear Heaven Scroll for thousands of years without any results. This ancient scroll is simply a blank slate, how can you suddenly cultivate it? Tian Chanzi simply wanted to vomit blood. I only read it once. Tang Zheng explained. Read. How did you read it? Tang Zheng rolled his eyes, how else could he read it? Of course he read it word by word. Read it for me. Tian Chanzi impatiently said. Tang Zheng had no choice but to read it word by word. Stop. Suddenly, Tian Chanzi loudly shouted, how can you read it like that? Isn't it supposed to be read like that? Tang Zheng was baffled, he had lived for so many years, could it be that he did not even know how to read by the book? Shouldn't it be read vertically from right to left? How can you read it from left to right? Shouldn't reading be from left to right? This was common knowledge of modern people. Tian Chanzi was silent for a while before he sighed and said, so that's how it is. So that's how it is. No wonder the Yin demon and I didn't find anything after so many years of research. It turns out that we were on the wrong path. The ancient people read vertically from right to left. Tian Chanzi and the Yin demon had never thought of any other method of reading, so they were unable to discover the secret of the ancient Clear Heaven Scroll. Heaven's will, could it be that all of this is Heaven's will? The ancient Clear Heaven Scroll belongs to this kid. Tian Chanzi sighed with emotion. 1,000 years ago, Tian Chanzi and the Yin demon coincidentally found this mysterious ancient scroll. The two of them fought for a long time, wanting to take it for themselves. In the end, both of them were injured and their bodies were destroyed. Their divine sense was actually absorbed by the ancient Clear Heaven Scroll. The two of them fought openly and secretly in the ancient well, but they were unable to defeat each other. Moreover, the two of them also silently studied the secrets of the ancient Clear Heaven Scroll, but to no avail. They were completely clueless about the ancient Clear Heaven Scroll. It was not at all like the powerful cultivation method in the legends. After 1,000 years, the sea turned into mulberry fields, and the earth's crust moved. The ancient clear heaven scroll was buried underground, finally fusing with a rock. This rock was later used to build this laboratory building. The two of them were trapped in the ancient clear heaven well, and their divine senses' range of activity was limited to the basement. They hoped to find a suitable living person to possess and be reborn. However, they had harsh requirements for the host. If the host's body was too weak, they would not be able to withstand their divine sense and would eventually die. A few years ago, a female student with a mysterious Een body came here and gave the Een demon hope. He couldn't wait to enter her brain and take over her body, but in the end, he failed and sucked all of the essence blood of the female student. However, although the Een demon did not succeed in possessing her, he absorbed the mysterious Een power of the female student. His strength greatly increased, and he gradually suppressed Tian Chanzi. After several years of struggle, Tian Chanzi was about to be completely defeated and his soul scattered. At this time, Tang Zheng appeared, leading to this series of unforeseen events. After Tang Zheng heard the twists and turns of the story, he was secretly speechless. However, he was also very glad that he did not turn into a dried-up corpse like the female student. This was all thanks to his 9-yang saint body. Tian Chanzi, what is the mystery of the 9-yang saint body? I also do not know the specifics, but legend has it that the 9-yang saint body is one of the rarest physiques in the world. Its mysteries are endless. In ancient times, there was a saint with the 9-yang saint body, and his strength reached the heavens. So powerful. Tang Zheng was surging with emotions. Does this mean that in the future he will also have a divine ability that can reach the heavens? But you also need to have the opportunity. Not everyone is so powerful. Tian Chanzi poured cold water on him. Tang Zheng discontentedly snorted and said, "You are just jealous of me." Tian Chanzi was speechless. He was indeed jealous. Tang Zheng was muddle-headed and successfully cultivated the ancient clear heaven scroll. If this was not enough to make people jealous, then what would make people jealous? Little brat, don't be happy too early. The 9-yang saint body is a rare physique, but when things reach an extreme it will move in the opposite direction. The 9-yang saint body also has a fatal flaw. The 9-yang saint body has the purest yang energy, but a person's body cannot withstand such a strong purest yang energy. All things in the world pay attention to the balance of yin and yang. Only then can they grow and multiply endlessly. The stronger the purest yang energy, the more it needs the balance of purest yin energy. Do you understand? Tian Chanzi warned. Tang Zheng's enthusiasm was suddenly dampened. He said, "Then what will happen if there is no balance of purest yin energy? Yang energy will surge to the heavens and your body will explode. Moreover, as your strength increases, the purest yang energy will become stronger and you will be closer to the day of your death. Little brat, your luck is actually good. If you did not meet me, you definitely would not have lived past the age of 20. Because without the balance of purest yin energy, you will definitely die before the age of 20. Tang Zheng felt as if he had suddenly fallen from heaven to hell. Fortunately, his mental fortitude was strong enough. He quickly asked, 20 years old? I am 18 this year. In other words, I only have 2 years left to live. That's right, didn't you say that with purest yin energy there would be no problem with the balance of yin and yang? Where is the purest yin energy? Tian Chanzi gave a strange laugh. Hey, all things in the world have a natural counter to each other. Since there is purest yang energy, there will naturally be purest yin energy. The purest yin energy is mostly found in cold places where people rarely go. With your current strength, going to those places will only be sending you to your death. Tang Zheng's face turned ashen. This was the same as saying nothing. Little brat, don't worry. I still haven't finished speaking. There is another type of purest yin energy that is within reach. Where is it? Tang Zheng was overjoyed as if he had grabbed onto a life-saving straw. Women. Tian Chanzi said mysteriously. Women? Tang Zheng was confused. Yes, men have purest yang energy and women have purest yin energy. As long as you absorb the purest yin energy from a woman, you will naturally be able to achieve the balance of yin and yang. That way, your little life will be temporarily saved. Then how do I absorb a woman's purest yin energy? The fastest shortcut is to go to bed. Tang Zheng's face turned red. For an 18-year-old youth, this kind of thing was really too shameful. Although he would occasionally look forward to it. Tian Chanzi, you are too shameless. Tian Chanzi said in a flustered and exasperated manner, little brat, I am teaching you a way to save your life and you are still scolding this old man. I won't scold you. But your method is simply not feasible. I can't just go out on the street and drag a woman to bed. Tang Zheng said, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Of course not. Although women have purest yin energy, not every woman's purest yin energy is suitable for you. You must have a strong purest yin energy in order to achieve the balance of yin and yang. Let me give you some common sense. What people call a man's smell is the purest yang energy naturally emits an aura and smell. But why do women have such a nice smell? That is because they have purest yin energy. The stronger the purest yin energy, the more distinct the body's smell. The common saying is the fragrance of a virgin. That is the smell of purest yin energy that has been accumulated for tens of years. This was the first time Tang Zheng heard this kind of argument. He couldn't help but be curious as he said, then I have to pursue a woman with a fragrant body and also go to bed with her? That is the reason. But because you have the 9 yang saint body, a woman cannot achieve the balance of yin and yang. Tang Zheng's face immediately turned into a bitter melon color. Are you playing with me? Don't tell me I have to pursue many women. Little brat, don't let your imagination run wild. Since you are so compatible with the ancient clear heaven scroll, then I have no way to pass on the technique to you. The ancient clear heaven scroll is a very powerful and mysterious technique. If you cultivate it, then you will be much more powerful than if you cultivate my technique. Tian Chanzi said, as his hopes of returning to the sect were shattered. Tang Zheng calmed down a little and said, since you already know the method to cultivate the ancient clear heaven scroll, then you can also cultivate it. I can't. I just tried. The ancient clear heaven scroll can only be cultivated by people without any foundation. I already have a cultivation base so I can't cultivate it. At that time I fought Yin Mo to the death for the ancient clear heaven scroll. I never thought that the ancient clear heaven scroll was not suitable for us. In the end, it benefited you brat. But the ancient clear heaven scroll is a cultivation method and is the foundation. You still have to learn other things from me. You can rest assured that I will teach you everything because the stronger you are, the faster I will recover. The more profound Tang Zheng's cultivation, the more nourishment Tian Chanzi's divine sense would receive, and the faster he would recover. At a certain point, he would be able to leave Tang Zheng's mind and find a suitable host to be reborn. You can rest assured that I will work hard to learn. Tang Zheng had encountered an unforeseen event and deeply understood the importance of strength. He must become stronger. Although becoming stronger meant that his pure yang energy would be stronger and the danger of self-destruction would be greater, this still could not suppress his determination to become stronger. Now I will first explain to you the relevant knowledge of cultivation. Cultivation is to seize the good fortune of heaven and earth and absorb the spiritual energy of heaven and earth into one's body. Then with a cultivation method, it will be transformed into one's own true qi. The stronger the true qi, the stronger one's strength will be. The so-called 8 extraordinary meridians. The human body has 8 main meridians and each meridian will store true qi. The levels of cultivation are correspondingly divided into refining qi, foundation establishment, inedia, golden core, yuanying, spirit severing, great ascension, and many other realms. Each realm is further divided into 9 grades. Now that you have entered the first grade of refining qi, each of the 8 meridians have 1 inch of true qi. When your true qi reaches 2 inches, you will enter the second grade of refining qi. Wait, how can this be? Suddenly, Tian Chanzi cried out in alarm. What's wrong with you being so surprised? How come you have one more main meridian? You have a total of 9 main meridians. Tian Chanzi looked as if he had seen a ghost. The human body has countless meridians, but only the main meridians can store true qi. But at this moment, Tang Zheng's body has 9 main meridians that store true qi. Tang Zheng was baffled. With a thought, he found that there are indeed 9 meridians that store true qi. Could this be the secret of the 9 yang saint body? Tian Chanzi muttered to himself, I also don't understand. Since it has come to this, I have no other choice. Then is this a good thing or a bad thing? How would I know? Tian Chanzi said in a bad mood. Tang Zheng asked for a snub, so he didn't want to be entangled with this question. He asked again, then do I have magic now? How can magic be so easy to learn? You must reach the 3rd grade of refining qi before you can learn magic. Then what can I do now? Tang Zheng was slightly disappointed. He originally thought that he would be able to learn the legendary magic, but he found that it was nothing but an illusion. Of course there are things you can do. You can learn martial arts. Martial arts? Yes, in this world there are not only cultivators, but also martial artists. They are existences that are not weaker than cultivators. When a martial artist cultivates to the peak, they can also pry into the great Tao. Are martial artists really that powerful? How come the TV shows are just for show? Tang Zheng had some doubts. This was already the era of science and technology. Martial arts had already declined. It seemed that they were not as powerful as Tian Chanzi said. What do you know? How can a true expert be seen by ordinary people? You only need to remember that there are many capable people in this world. You must quickly increase your strength. Now I will first teach you the entry-level martial art, the Heaven Gathering Hand. Just as he finished speaking, Tang Zheng found that there was a picture in his mind. On it was a set of movements. This is the Heaven Gathering Hand. Although it is an entry-level martial art, when practiced to the peak, its power is still boundless. The Heaven Gathering Hand, as the name implies, is like an inescapable net, leaving the opponent with nowhere to hide. Tang Zheng was like a hungry man. Martial arts were like a peerless beauty. Of course he had no reason to refuse. Moreover, since Tian Chanzi said it was so powerful, it must be true. Do you think it should be used like this? Tang Zheng's figure flashed and moved according to the picture. Whoosh, a gust of wind swept past. He was like a ghost in the basement. Tian Chanzi was almost stunned. This kid's learning ability was too strong. He had only seen it once and he had already reached such a deep level. How could he let others live? Am I practicing it right? Tang Zheng stopped and asked. Tian Chanzi was shocked, speechless. After a moment of silence, he recovered from his stupefied state. He weakly said, "No problem." Tang Zheng was overjoyed. This feeling of power was even stronger than the sense of achievement gained from learning. Well, that's all for today. You have to work hard to practice the ancient Clear Heaven Scroll. After Tian Chanzi finished speaking, he was silent. He was really shocked by Tang Zheng's inhuman learning speed. Tang Zheng walked out of the laboratory building. The afterglow of the setting sun shone on his body, pulling out a long shadow. School was over. Pengcheng International School did not provide accommodation because the students were basically from well-off families. No one was willing to live on campus. Tang Zheng left the school and ran home. His home was located in the north of ordinary balanced city. It was an old city with countless villages in the city. It was a well-known poor area. The north of the city compared to the center of the city was simply the difference between the earth and the sky. Tang Zheng had long been accustomed to this point. After running 10 kilometers back to his home, he was not panting like he usually was. Instead, he felt refreshed. This is the mystery of entering the qi refining stage. He took a deep breath, calmed down, and pushed open the shabby door. This was a small single-story house. It was only 40 square meters in size. The house was low and the light was dim. "Grandpa, I'm back," he called out. No one responded. There was no one in the house. Tang Zheng furrowed his eyebrows. Grandpa must have dragged his sick body out to work again. His heart was pierced as he turned around and ran out. The garbage dump was filled with a foul smell. For ordinary people, they would definitely stay away. But for those who made a living in the garbage dump, it was a treasure mountain. It was like a gift from the heavens. Tang Zheng had long been accustomed to the environment of the garbage dump because he was raised by his grandpa by picking up garbage. Chapter 4. I have always been picking up trash here. When did this place become your territory? An old voice indignantly retorted. F***ck, you still dare to talk nonsense, are you looking for a beating? A muffled peng sound rang out as someone fell to the ground. Tang Zheng's heart tightened as his anger surged. That old voice could not be more familiar, it was his grandfather Tang Dehai's voice. 3 steps into, he had already arrived at the scene and found his grandfather on the ground being stepped on by a large man. "Let go of my grandfather!" Tang Zheng angrily roared. "Where did this stinking brat come from? Quickly scram!" The large man cast a sidelong glance at Tang Zheng, not putting him in his eyes. "Little Zheng, why are you here? Quickly leave!" The old man gasped for breath as he weakly shouted. "Grandfather, let me help you." Tang Zheng's feet tapped as he quickly arrived in front of the large man. The large man was slightly stunned as he did not expect Tang Zheng's speed to be so fast. But seeing that a mere student dared to challenge his dignity, he was unable to restrain his anger as he roared, "Little brat, if you are looking for a beating then this old man will fulfill your wish." "Who?" A fist punched out but the fist struck empty air. The large man did not even have time to react before his stomach took a punch, causing him to feel as if his heart was being overturned. You. The large man was just about to curse out loud when he saw a large fist heading straight for his face. He cried out in pain as blood flew out from his nose and he fell backwards. "Grandfather, are you all right?" Tang Zheng hurriedly helped the old man up and asked with concern. The old man gasped for breath as he weakly said, "I am fine, little Zheng, quickly leave. This person is vicious and is not a good person. You should not provoke him. Grandfather, with me here, no one can bully you," Tang Zheng decisively said. "Ai, you must study hard and not fight for an old man like me. If the teacher finds out, you will definitely be criticized," the old man anxiously said. Tang Zheng felt a headache as his grandfather always placed him first. This made him even more angry at the large man. "Grandpa, you rest for a while. I'll deal with this person first." Tang Zheng turned around and stared coldly at the big man. The burly man had already crawled up and was unable to restrain his anger. "Stinking brat, you're simply courting death. Since that's the case, I'll let you know how powerful I am." Whoosh! The burly man pulled out a dagger that glittered with cold light, revealing a ferocious look. The old man jumped in fright and hurriedly shouted, "Little Zheng, quickly leave, I will stop him." "Grandpa, he can't hurt me." Tang Zheng comforted, then stared fiercely at the big man, "Why do you want to hurt my grandfather?" F***ck, this is Brother Who's territory, you have to ask for Brother Who's permission before you can make a living here. You dare to challenge Brother Who's dignity, not killing you is already merciful. The big man aggressively roared. Brother Who? Tang Zheng was a good student and had never heard of Brother Who's name. The big man's name was Dong Zi and was one of Brother Who's henchmen. He was sent here to watch over the territory and the scavengers had to hand over the good things they picked up to him. Brother Who was a big hoodlum in the northern part of the city. His real name was Lin Hu and he had gathered a group of henchmen. In the ordinary balanced city Jianghu, he was one of the most famous people. Originally he looked down on the garbage dump, but a few days ago someone dug out an antique from the garbage dump and sold it for over $1 million. Lin Hu began to pay attention to this territory and sent one of his henchmen to watch over the place. The scavengers had to hand over the items they picked up to be appraised, and the valuable items would be taken away. Tang Zheng's grandfather had been sick all this time, so he did not know about this new rule. Today he dragged his sick body to pick up trash, which led to this series of conflicts. What, are you scared? Let me tell you, it's too late. Dong Zi proudly said. He thought that Brother Hu's name had scared Tang Zheng. I don't care what Brother Hu or Brother Niu you are. If you dare to hurt my grandfather, I will not let you have a good time. Tang Zheng was already a cultivator, so how could he be afraid of a few hoodlums? Dong Zi was surprised. This brat had eaten a leopard's guts. Even Brother Hu's name was not able to scare him. Humph, brat, you dare to say that? You're dead. Go to hell. Dong Zi rushed over and stabbed his dagger straight at Tang Zheng's chest. Tang Zheng moved sideways and grabbed the opponent's wrist. Kacha, the bone broke and the big man screamed. Large beads of sweat came out. Bang! Tang Zheng kicked Dong Zi's knees. Dong Zi's knees went soft and he directly knelt on the ground. If you dare to come here again, I will also break your legs. Tang Zheng said in a stern voice. Get lost. Dong Zi was angry but did not dare to say anything. His heart was filled with pain and he said, Brat, do you know the consequences of offending Brother Hu? F***ck, you still dare to be noisy. Tang Zheng coldly snorted. Kacha, Dong Zi's other arm was twisted like a fried dough twist. Ah, it hurts so much. Let me go. I will not dare to do it again. Dong Zi did not expect Tang Zheng to be so decisive and he begged for mercy. The old man looked at Tang Zheng as if he was looking at a stranger. He panicked and said, Little Zheng, quickly let him go. He is going to die. Tang Zheng loosened his grip and Dong Zi ran away like a stray dog, not daring to say a single word of arrogance. Oh no, this time we are in big trouble. This kind of person should be avoided. How can we provoke him? The old man said with a bitter face and sighed. Grandfather, if they dare to come, I will beat them. Tang Zheng comforted. Little Zheng, they have a lot of people. They are not good people. How can you be their opponent? Moreover, you are a student. How can you fight? Grandfather, I know martial arts. They are not my opponent. Nonsense, what kind of martial arts do you know? The old man said with a straight face, the most important thing for a person is to know their own limits. Do not be arrogant. Tang Zheng was helpless. In his grandfather's heart, he was always a good student. Fighting was something he absolutely could not do. AI, forget it. The next time they come, you hide. This old man will let them beat you up. When they calm down, everything will be fine. The old man said to himself. Tang Zheng's nose turned sour. He clenched his fists and secretly swore that if they really dared to come, he would break their dog legs. When the grandfather and grandson returned home, Tang Zheng began to cook. These past few years, the grandfather and grandson depended on each other for survival. He had trained his cooking skills. With a few simple ingredients, he could make a unique and delicious meal. Little Tang Zheng, your body is still growing. You must eat more meat. The old man said as he placed the shredded meat into Tang Zheng's bowl. I am eating. Grandfather, you also need to eat. You have lost weight these past few days. Hee hee, I am already satisfied that my old bones have been able to live until now. Moreover, I have little Zheng with me. The heavens have treated me well. The old man's face was filled with a happy and satisfied smile. The two of them were not related by blood. Tang Zheng was picked up by the old man from the garbage. He was an abandoned child. The old man was kind-hearted and adopted him. He named him Tang Zheng. For more than 10 years, they depended on each other. He did his best to give Tang Zheng what he needed. Fortunately, Tang Zheng was smart and had excellent grades. He was the old man's greatest comfort. Little Zheng, if grandfather is no longer here, you must take good care of yourself. Do you understand? The old man sighed and said sincerely. Tang Zheng was shocked. His chopsticks fell under the table. He stared at his grandfather. Grandfather, don't think too much. You will be fine. Tomorrow we will go to the hospital to treat your illness. The old man grinned, revealing deep wrinkles, and said, I am not thinking too much. My body is fine. It is just an old illness. I went to the hospital a few days ago and the doctor said that I will be fine after resting for a while. Tang Zheng knew that his grandfather's body was not good. It was said that when he was young, his internal organs were damaged and left behind an illness. However, the doctor did not know what exactly was wrong with him. A while ago, his old illness relapsed and he went to the hospital. The doctor prescribed some medicine and it seemed that he was getting better these few days. Little Zheng, you will soon be 18 years old. When that time comes, you will be an adult. Grandfather knows that you have been sensible since you were young. Grandfather cannot give you anything. In the future, you will have to rely on yourself. Tang Zheng had a bad premonition. His grandfather's words were like his last words. His illness was definitely not as simple as he thought. Tang Zheng was about to ask when a voice sounded from outside the house. Does Tang Zheng live here? Old witch. Tang Zheng immediately recognized the voice. Little Zheng, someone is looking for you. The old man said. Grandfather, you eat first. I will go out for a while. Is it your friend? She is our class teacher. So it is the teacher. Then I will go see her. Little Zheng, your grades in school are so good because of the teacher's guidance and help. Grandfather has never thanked the teacher in person. The old man was full of spirit as he excitedly walked out. Tang Zheng wanted to stop him but it was too late. In his heart, he muttered, what is the old witch doing here? He has been in high school for almost 3 years and the old witch has never visited his home. However, he has heard that she often visits Qiao Fei and Fang Shishi's home. Teacher, hello. Please come in. The old man bent his body and kindly invited. Wu Cuihong wrinkled her eyebrows as she looked at the old man with a face full of wrinkles, white hair, and shabby clothes. She coldly said, You are Tang Zheng's grandfather. Yes, I am. Many thanks to teacher for taking care of little Zheng in school and waiving his school fees. This is a great gift to our family. The old man said with tears of gratitude. Tang Zheng walked out and saw his grandfather being careful and Wu Cuihong being arrogant. His heart was filled with anger as he asked, Teacher Wu, may I ask what business you have with me? Tang Zheng, I am here to inform you of a few things. Teacher, if you have something to say, then let's talk inside. The old man continued to invite. Wu Cuihong glanced at the low building and curled her lips. She could not hide her disdain as she said, I will stand here and say this. Tang Zheng, tomorrow you do not need to go to class 1. From now on you will go to class 7. What? Tang Zheng was gobsmacked. Class 1 was the best class in the school, while class 7 was the trash class, at the bottom, known as the hell class. Inside the class were hedonistic sons of rich parents who only knew how to eat, drink, and play. The difference between the two classes was like heaven and earth. Chapter 5. Wu Cuihong coldly snorted and said, Tang Zheng did not study hard and in the past half-year his grades have seriously declined. In several exams he was last place in the entire grade. What, last place in the entire grade? The old man was shocked as his eyes widened in disbelief. Tang Zheng felt a pain in his heart as the matter that he had been hiding was finally exposed. Why was the old witch so ruthless? This was tantamount to stabbing a knife into his grandfather's heart. Wu Zuehong did not care about the feelings of the grandfather and grandson pair as she continued to speak. Not only is his grades poor, his character is also problematic. Today he actually stole the class fee. For this kind of person not to be expelled is already considered benevolent by the school. Stole the class fee. The old man blankly stared at Wu Zuehong as if he was listening to a heavenly book. Yes. Wu Zuehong's answer was resolute as if she had seen it with her own eyes. Tang Zheng's lungs were about to explode as this was slander. Where was the image of a teacher? I did not steal it. Tang Zheng loudly refuted. Wu Zuehong playfully glanced at him and said, "Of course you won't admit it, but if it wasn't you then who else could it be? You don't need to quibble. Seeing how poor your family is, Xiao Fei has already promised to pay for the class fee to recover the loss of the class. Look at the gap between you and Xiao Fei. But in the future our class will have one less shui. A burden like you will be a great blessing." Shut up. Shut up. Suddenly, two loud shouts sounded out at the same time. The grandfather and grandson pair's faces flushed red, especially the old man who was so angry that his whole body trembled. His eyes bulged as he said, "You are slandering us. My family's little Zheng would not steal money. We are poor, but even the poor have integrity." Wu Zuehong was shocked by this scene as she disdainfully said, "Quibble." Tang Zheng's knuckles cracked as he fiercely stared at Wu Zuehong and said, "I said I did not steal it, so I did not steal it. Leave, our family does not welcome you." The old man took a step forward as he suddenly roared. Wu Zuehong unconsciously retreated as she almost fell to the ground. She was battered and exhausted as she angrily said, "You really are a rude barbarian. Do you think I still want to stay here? Even if 8 sedan chairs were to invite me, I would not come back. Old witch, remember what you did today. One day, I will make you regret it." Tang Zheng gnashed his teeth and said, Do you have the ability to make me regret?" Wu Zuehong sneered. However, when she saw the unfriendly expressions on the faces of the grandfather and grandson, she quickly left. The old man's aura changed. Like a deflated balloon, he became dispirited and looked at Tang Zheng silently. Tang Zheng panicked for no reason and hurriedly explained, "Grandpa, I really didn't steal the class fee." "I know. How could I not know what kind of person my grandson is?" The old man squeezed out a smile and said faintly. Tang Zheng breathed a sigh of relief and felt warm. Even if no one in the world believed in him, his grandfather would stand firmly by his side. "But why did you lie to me?" Suddenly, the old man's face darkened. "Why did your grades drop so badly?" "Grandpa, I didn't want you to worry. My memory wasn't good before, but now it's better. Just you wait, I will definitely get first place in the city in the college entrance exam," Tang Zheng said with certainty and confidence. The old man stared at him for a while before nodding his head, "I believe you." He did not ask for specific details because he knew that his grandson would never lie. "Little Zheng, even though you are no longer in class 1, gold will shine no matter where it is. Don't be discouraged." The old man patted his shoulder and comforted him. Tang Zheng nodded his head. He already had a plan. There were still 3 months before the college entrance exam and he did not want to immediately regain his former glory. Otherwise, if he regained first place in the monthly exam, he would definitely be transferred back to class 1. He did not want to face the old witch every day. Actually, class 7 is not a bad choice. I will quietly lie low and wait until the college entrance exam to make a beautiful comeback. I will ruthlessly slap the old witch in the face. The moon was bright and the stars were sparse. Everything was quiet. Tang Zheng sat cross-legged on the wooden bed. Circulating the ancient clear heaven scroll, the warm true qi flowed through his meridians. He let out a long breath. His whole body was incomparably relaxed and full of energy. The true qi in his 9 main meridians had increased by 2 points. Once it increased by 10 points, it would be 2 inches of true qi. "Little brat, your 9-yang saint body and the ancient clear heaven scroll are too compatible. In just a short day of training, it is equivalent to a month of training for others. Tian Chanzi's voice sounded in Tang Zheng's mind. Tang Zheng secretly rejoiced in his heart, as cultivating faster than others meant that he could become stronger faster. But I have bad news to tell you. Tian Chanzi changed the topic and directly said. What news? Your grandfather's life force is almost exhausted. He does not have much time left. What did you say? Tang Zheng turned pale with fright. It was as if he was struck by lightning. The ominous premonition in his heart was confirmed, causing his mind to go blank. Birth, old age, illness, and death are the laws of nature. You do not need to be sad. Bullshit. He is my grandfather, not your grandfather. Of course you would not be sad. Tang Zheng roared in exasperation. Tian Chanzi was silent. He had cultivated for hundreds and thousands of years and had long since seen through life and death. He did not have the same strong feelings as Tang Zheng. Grandfather cannot die. Aren't you a cultivator? You must have a way to save him, right? Tang Zheng asked impatiently. I am just a strand of divine sense. I have no way to save him. Tang Zheng's head darkened. If even Tian Chanzi had no way, then wouldn't that mean that his grandfather was beyond saving? Tian Chanzi saw his depressed appearance and changed the topic. He hesitated and said. Maybe there is a chance, but it is almost impossible unless a miracle occurs. Tang Zheng was overjoyed. Please do not speak with such big breaths. It will scare people to death. What can I do? I am not afraid of difficulties. No matter how bitter it is, as long as I can save grandfather, I am willing to bear it. There is a kind of pill called the life-continuing pill. It can extend his life by 10 years. Tian Chanzi said mysteriously. Life-continuing pill. Where can I find this kind of pill? I don't have it, but you can refine it. As long as you reach the 3rd grade refining qi and find the heaven-fragrant flower, I can teach you how to refine the life-continuing pill. Then I will cultivate to the 3rd grade refining qi as soon as possible. Where can I find the heaven-fragrant flower? How long can my grandfather last? Your grandfather's body can last for a month. So you must reach the 3rd grade refining qi within this month. As for the heaven-fragrant flower, it usually grows on cliffs. You will have to find it yourself. Cliffs. Tang Zheng thought. In the outskirts of the Ordinary Balance City, there is a tall mountain called the Ordinary Balance Mountain. It is more than 2,000 meters above sea level. The Ordinary Balance City got its name from this mountain. I can only go to the Ordinary Balance Mountain and try my luck. I must find the heaven-fragrant flower. The heaven-fragrant flower is rare even in ancient times, let alone now. In addition, you must reach the 3rd grade refining qi within this month. Ordinary cultivators need 2 years to go from the 1st grade refining qi to the 3rd grade refining qi. You only have 1 month's time. Didn't you say that 1 day of cultivation for me is equivalent to 1 month of cultivation for others? Then wouldn't 20 days be equivalent to 2 years of cultivation for others? I can definitely reach the 3rd grade refining qi. Tang Zheng said confidently. Tian Chanzi immediately poured a bucket of cold water on him. Little brat, your thinking is too easy. If cultivation was so easy, then wouldn't everyone under the heavens be experts? Right now, because you have just started cultivating, your speed will be very fast. After a few days, you will slow down and return to the speed of an ordinary person. Moreover, I have observed that in this era, the spiritual energy of heaven and earth is very thin. Compared to 1,000 years ago, the cultivation environment is much worse. If you want to reach the 3rd grade refining qi within a month, it will not be as easy as you say. Tang Zheng felt a chill in his heart. He really was too optimistic, but even if there were difficulties, for his grandfather's life, he must overcome them. He clenched his teeth and firmly said, For grandfather, I must succeed. Tang Zheng gathered his strength and continued to cultivate. Over and over again, he revolved the ancient Clear Heaven Scrolls cultivation technique. His qi grew little by little. The sky gradually turned white. Tang Zheng finished his cultivation and made breakfast. He woke up his grandfather and told him not to go out and do anything. Only then did he go to school. Although his top priority was to cultivate, he still had to go to class. Otherwise, if his grandfather found out, he would be even more sad. At the gate of Tianpeng International School, there was an endless stream of luxury cars. It was like a car show. Many students came down from the luxury cars and arrogantly walked into the school gate. Tang Zheng, wait for me. A pleasant voice called out to Tang Zheng. He stopped and turned around to see Fang Shishir coming down from a luxury car. She was carrying a backpack and quickly walking towards him. Yesterday, almost all the students in the class believed that he stole the money. Only Fang Shishir believed him. He could not help but feel grateful. Tang Zheng, let's go together. Fang Shishir said with a smile. Her breath was like an orchid, and her delicate skin glistened under the sunlight. Tang Zheng nodded and the two of them walked towards the school gate. Tang Zheng, I heard that you were transferred to class 7. Fang Shishir sadly said. Tang Zheng's mouth curved into a trace of a bitter smile and said, good news does not leave the house. Bad news travels 1,000 miles. I'm sorry. This has nothing to do with you. Why are you saying sorry? No, the school originally decided to expel you. I originally begged my dad to let you stay in class 1. But later the other board members objected. So I can only let you go to class 7 for the time being. Fang Shishir said apologetically. Tang Zheng flew into a rage. The school actually wanted to expel him. This must be the old witch stirring up trouble. Luckily he had Fang Shishir's help. Otherwise he really would have been expelled from the school. Fang Shishir's father Fang Chongguo was one of the board members of Tianpeng International School. If he did not intervene, Tang Zheng really would not be able to stay in the school. After the anger, his heart surged with an indescribable feeling of gratitude. He looked at Fang Shishir with a burning gaze and sincerely said, Fang Shishir, thank you. Fang Shishir's face flushed red from his burning gaze. It was even more attractive than the rising sun. She lightly smiled and said, we are classmates. You don't have to be so polite. I believe that your grades will definitely recover. Tang Zheng was originally about to lose confidence in himself. He did not expect that Fang Shishir would still believe in him. This was the second person besides his grandfather to believe in him. This gave him a strange feeling. Little brat, let me tell you a piece of good news. I found a girl with strong enough purine energy. Suddenly Tian Chanzi's voice sounded. Tang Zheng was shocked, where is she? Hi hey, you brat's luck is really good. Far away on the horizon, right in front of your eyes. The girl beside you has a purine body. Her purine energy is abnormally rich. Tian Chanzi strangely laughed. A woman's body is divided into different body types based on the amount of purine energy. Aside from the normal body types, there are the pure Yin body, the mysterious Yin body, the evil Yin body and the 9 Yin saint body. Fang Shishir. Tang Zheng subconsciously looked at her. He found that the corner of her mouth hooked up in a faint smile. It was like a lotus flower that stood alone in the world. It made people's heart beat faster. If I can really make her my girlfriend, it would be a great blessing in life. Tang Zheng knew that many people in the school were eager to make Fang Shishir their girlfriend, but she rejected them all. Her family is so good. Will I be able to pursue her? Brat, you're belittling yourself too much. You're a cultivator now. It's her honor that you've taken a fancy to her. Tian Chanzi lectured. Suddenly, he screamed, what's going on? Why are you already absorbing her purine energy? Why are you screaming like a ghost? Little brat, you don't even need to go to bed to absorb a woman's purine energy. Is this the mystery of the 9 Yang saint body? Tian Chanzi shouted. Tang Zheng was overjoyed. Are you saying that as long as I stay by her side, I can absorb her purine energy? This was unimaginable, but Tian Chanzi had to admit that it was a fact. No, this is definitely not the effect of the 9-yang saint body. Otherwise, there wouldn't have been people with the 9-yang saint body exploding. This must be the effect of the ancient clear heaven scroll. Tang Zheng didn't care what the effect was. In short, he found a way to absorb purine energy. Moreover, as long as he stayed by a girl's side, he could do it. This was 1,000 times easier than going to bed. Little brat, don't be happy too early. This kind of absorption speed is very slow unless you spend a lot of time with her. Rest assured, I will definitely create opportunities to spend more time with her. Since Tang Zheng found a way, his mood became better. While they were talking, the two of them had already arrived at the entrance of grade 12 class 1. I'll go in first. Good luck, fellow student Tang Zheng. Fang Shishir waved her fist and said encouragingly. Then, like a fairy, she skipped into the classroom. Tang Zheng nodded his head and watched her walk in. Then, he looked at grade 12 class 1's nameplate and felt the countless mocking gazes coming from the classroom. He sneered in his heart, you guys can mock me as much as you want. When it comes to the college entrance exam, I'll trample all of you under my feet. Qiao Fei sat in the classroom. His face was covered with gauze that faintly hurt. He looked at Tang Zheng from afar and then at Fang Shishir who was blushing. His eyes flashed with a sinister light. Tang Zheng, you've already been kicked out of class 1, yet you still managed to win Fang Shishir's attention. Preposterous. It seems that just kicking you out of class 1 isn't enough. I must thoroughly ruin your reputation. Tang Zheng didn't notice the sinister gaze. He walked with his head held high like a warrior as he walked towards class 7. Hell class, grade 12 class 7 was at the end of the corridor. The classroom was quiet and filled with people. Tang Zheng's eyes flashed with a trace of surprise. In the past, when he passed by class 7, it was as noisy as a market. It had never been this quiet. However, he didn't care and walked straight in. Hua! Chapter 6. When Tang Zheng heard the movement above his head, his heart trembled. He didn't raise his head to look. He took a step forward and instantly moved 1 meter forward. Splash! A large bucket of water splashed on the floor in front of the door, splashing water everywhere. The whole class stared at this scene unblinkingly. The originally smirking expression of watching a good show became dumbfounded. What's going on? Why did the tried and tested move fail? Why wasn't Tang Zheng drenched like a drowned rat? A show of strength. The corner of Tang Zheng's mouth hooked up into a faint smile. The Hell class was indeed not simple. They actually welcomed the newcomers like this. He glanced at the dumbfounded crowd and found that there were 2 empty seats in the last row. Thus, he walked over and sat down without saying a word. Immediately, the crowd's expression became more complicated. Many people had a hint of schadenfreude in their eyes. Ding-ling-ling. The class bell rang. The sound of high heels hitting the ground gradually approached. Immediately, almost all the boys sat up straight. They held their breath and looked at the door like giraffes. A beautiful figure appeared at the door. In an instant, the classroom seemed to have added a touch of light, making the air fresh. Tang Zheng even heard the sound of many people swallowing their saliva. His eyes couldn't help but flash a trace of amazement. Goddess! This was the only thought that appeared in his mind at this moment. The person who came had an oval face, willowy eyebrows, a slender waist, dressed in a professional suit, and a cold face. She was definitely an ice goddess. Although Tang Zheng had seen other teachers wearing this suit, it was completely incomparable to her. The professional suit vividly set off her graceful figure. The greatness of her chest was on the verge of bursting out of her clothes. Her pair of slender beautiful legs were actually wearing black stockings. It was simply asking for old men's lives. This uniform was enough to be a fatal temptation even for a veteran of the brothels, not to mention a group of adolescent teenagers with excessive hormone secretion. Especially that cold face, it made people feel ashamed of their inferiority. However, they couldn't help but daydream. "She's the teacher of this class?" Tang Zheng asked. He had never seen her before. She paused at the door and looked at the water stains on the ground. She frowned, and her two willowy eyebrows slightly curved, looking extremely flirtatious. She walked up to the podium and placed the textbook she was carrying on the podium. The greatness of her chest was even more obvious and magnificent. Many girls glanced at them enviously before lowering their heads in shame. They looked at their own little steamed buns and were too ashamed to show their faces. "Class," she said softly. "Stand up," shouted a little fatty in front of Tang Zheng. "Hello, teacher." Everyone stood up. The boys shouted as if they were on steroids, while the girls were listless. She nodded and gestured for everyone to sit down. Her gaze swept around and landed on Tang Zheng. She said coldly, "New student, Tang Zheng, I am your class teacher, Lu Qingmei. Please introduce yourself." Tang Zheng stood up and looked at everyone. He lightly said, "My name is Tang Zheng." "Tang Zheng is Tang and Tang Zheng is June," Lu Qingmei nodded. She was very satisfied with his conciseness. She didn't like long-winded people. She knew a thing or two about Tang Zheng's situation. The once genius youth had fallen to the bottom of the rankings, which was a fatal blow to anyone. But seeing that his words still revealed a strong sense of self-confidence, she couldn't help but see him in a new light. She couldn't help but be a bit curious. "Sit down." Lu Qingmei looked at his seat. Her eyes flashed with a trace of astonishment and said, "Don't you need to change seats?" Tang Zheng didn't understand. His seat was in the last row and in the corner. It was a corner that wasn't easy to be noticed. He couldn't ask for more. "No need." "Thank you, teacher." Lu Qingmei's throat moved. In the end, she didn't try to persuade him. The others had a look of schadenfreude. Tang Zheng didn't understand what was going on. Lu Qingmei began her class. Tang Zheng quietly listened for a while. Her lecture was organized and clear. It couldn't help but attract the attention of others. She looks to be only 25 or 26 years old. But her teaching methods are very good. It's better than many of the old teachers. Truly amazing. Tang Zheng was secretly speechless. The blood clot in his brain had already disappeared. The rich knowledge returned to his brain. These classes were already very simple for him. He didn't continue to listen to the class. Instead, he cultivated the ancient Clear Heaven Scroll. He didn't want to waste any time cultivating. He must reach the 3rd grade refining Qi as soon as possible. Unknowingly, the class ended. Lu Qingmei hugged her textbook and walked out of the classroom. The classroom immediately turned into a bustling market. "Tang Zheng, you better change your seat as soon as possible." The little fatty in the front row came over and mysteriously said. Tang Zheng curiously asked, "Why should I change seats?" "I feel that this seat is very good." "AI, in any case, it's for your own good. Otherwise it will be too late." "Oh, let me introduce myself. My name is Feng Yong. I am the class monitor of the 7th class. Fatty Feng, don't talk nonsense. What's wrong with this seat? Be careful. If Sister Ding Dang hears you, she will skin you alive." A coarse voice roared. A tall boy stood in front of Tang Zheng like an iron tower. Tang Zheng glanced at him. This person was at least 185 meters tall. He had a body full of muscles and was very intimidating. Feng Yong shrunk his neck and hurriedly explained, Takashi, I didn't say that this seat is bad. I was just worried that student Tang Zheng will sit too far and won't be able to see the words on the blackboard." Takashi laughed. He didn't pay attention to Feng Yong. Instead, he looked at Tang Zheng with interest and said, "You were the school's previous number one." "Hi hey, I think that's all there is to it. Now you have actually fallen to our hell class. I feel that the 7th class is pretty good." Tang Zheng lightly said. "Is that so? The 7th class is the bottom class. For a top student like you, isn't it too small?" Takashi ridiculed. "Even you think that it is the bottom class? Then I have nothing to say. You are labeling yourself as the bottom class. You can't represent others. Student Tang Zheng is right. What's wrong with our class? I believe that our class will definitely get better." Feng Yong took advantage of the opportunity to say. "Fatty Feng, you don't have the right to speak here." Takashi angrily stared at the other. "Tang Zheng, you are the one who is truly at the bottom. You are the last in the school." "Hi hey, how glorious." Tang Zheng's eyes flashed with a trace of anger. Soon after, he returned to normal. His mentality was no longer the same as before. There was no need to argue with Takashi. Seeing that Tang Zheng didn't speak, Takashi proudly laughed. He was about to take advantage of the situation to ridicule a few more words when he heard a delicate shout, Takashi, what are you doing sneaking around in front of my seat?" Takashi's whole body trembled. He hurriedly retreated 3 steps. With a bashful smile, he said, "Sister Ding Dang, I am helping you teach this newcomer who doesn't know the immensity of heaven and earth a lesson." Yi Ding Dang boldly and decisively walked over. Her pair of quick-witted eyes swept over Tang Zheng, who was calmly sitting on the fishing platform. Her delicate eyebrows immediately twisted and said, "Who are you? Why are you sitting in my seat?" Takashi gloatingly laughed, "Sister Ding Dang, he is, shut up. I am not asking you. I am asking him." Yi Ding Dang stared straight at Tang Zheng. Her tone was unkind. Gao Daji kept quiet out of fear and immediately shut his mouth. Tang Zheng looked at her with interest. Sister Ding Dang, who was she? For a girl to make Takashi so afraid, she was definitely not someone to be trifled with. "My name is Tang Zheng. This seat is empty. It is not yours." Tang Zheng indifferently said. "You are that bookworm Tang Zheng." Yi Ding Dang couldn't help but be a little curious, "So what if you're Tang Zheng? You can't sit in my seat. Let me tell you, these 2 seats are both mine." Tang Zheng glanced at her butt. In his heart he said, "Your butt is quite perky, but it is not that big. How can you sit in 2 seats?" Yi Ding Dang was about to go crazy. This person actually dared to look at her but without the slightest scruple. Moreover, the meaning in his eyes could not be more obvious. "Get up!" Yi Ding Dang angrily roared. Tang Zheng could not help but wrinkle his eyebrows. This Sister Ding Dang's beauty did not lose to Fang Shishir. However, her personality was as different as heaven and earth. It was simply unreasonable. Tang Zheng was previously engrossed in his studies. He did not know Yi Ding Dang's name. She was another school beauty on par with Fang Shishir. "I want to study. Please do not disturb me," Tang Zheng coldly said. The entire class's attention was attracted. They looked at this scene with interest. Yi Ding Dang was a godlike existence in Class 7. Not only was she beautiful, she was also skilled. Even Takashi was not her opponent. Moreover, it was said that her identity was mysterious. This group of rich kids did not dare to provoke her. Today, the newcomer Tang Zheng actually dared to provoke her. It was as if the sun rose from the west. There was going to be a good show to watch. Yi Ding Dang was also angry. Looking left and right, she could not see anything special about Tang Zheng. Thus, she suddenly grabbed the book in Tang Zheng's hand and shouted, "Heng, I'll let you study." Tang Zheng moved his arm and cleverly dodged. Yi Ding Dang was shocked. Her grappling hand had never failed. This time, she actually missed. Tang Zheng did not lift his head. It was as if nothing had happened. He continued to concentrate on reading his book. Just now, it must have been a mistake. Watch how I teach you a lesson. Yi Dingdang comforted herself. She grabbed the corner of the table and pulled it out. At the same time, she used a sweeping move and kicked Tang Zheng's lower body. Bang! A collision sound rang out. "I-oh!" A scream rang out. Everyone could not help but reveal a trace of joy. They thought that Tang Zheng was in trouble. Of all people to provoke, he had to provoke Yi Dingdang. Is Yi Dingdang someone you can provoke? Feng Yong almost closed his eyes. He could not bear to see this cruel scene. Gao Daji, on the other hand, had an evil smile on his face as he was incomparably proud of himself. Suddenly, his expression froze. How come the one hugging her leg and screaming was Yi Dingdang and not Tang Zheng? Why was this outsider still reading his book? It was just that there was an extra chair in front of him. It was as if nothing had happened. Chapter 7. This outsider actually used a chair to block Yi Dingdang's total annihilation, causing her leg to kick the chair. It would be strange if she didn't scream. Despicable, too despicable. Almost everyone had this thought, especially the boys who were drooling over Yi Dingdang's beauty. They were gnashing their teeth in hatred. How could he be so ruthless to such a beautiful girl? He really didn't know how to have tender feelings for the fairer sex. I'm going to kill you. Yi Dingdang screamed, unable to restrain her anger. Ding ling ling. Just at this time, the bell rang and the teacher walked in. Yi Dingdang was like a balloon that was about to explode and suddenly deflated. She fiercely glared at him and unwillingly gave up. Tang Zheng continued to read without looking up. The others found that the good show couldn't be performed as scheduled and couldn't help but feel disappointed. Just you wait. After class, I'll show you what's good for you. Yi Dingdang gritted her teeth and unwillingly returned to her seat. Takashi was eager to give it a try. He fiercely glared at Tang Zheng and also returned to his seat in disappointment. Tang Zheng and Yi Dingdang sat next to each other, almost shoulder to shoulder. He didn't look sideways and listened to the class for a while before burying his head in his book. Yi Dingdang turned her head to look at him from time to time, as if she wanted to see through him. She bitterly pondered, "Infinity, this person is quite good at pretending. Can he understand? It's said that when he uses his brain, he gets a headache. He can only be at the bottom. Humph, later I'll definitely beat him until he looks for his teeth on the ground. He dares to be rude to me, Yi Dingdang, in class 7. He's just asking to be humiliated." Tang Zheng didn't know what Yi Dingdang was thinking. As for what she was thinking, he didn't care. But Tian Chanzi broke the silence and said, "Boy, this little girl isn't simple. She's a martial artist." Martial artist? Tang Zheng was stunned. Yes, there are signs of internal strength flowing in her body. Both warriors and practitioners have their own set of power circulation paths. The power in their bodies is called internal strength, not genuine qi. This is the power they cultivate by tempering their bodies little by little with the help of the spiritual qi of heaven and earth. There is a certain difference with us practitioners who cultivate with the help of the spiritual qi of heaven and earth, Tian Chanzi explained. How strong is she? Tang Zheng couldn't help but ask curiously. The martial arts system is the same as the cultivation system. It is divided into 7 levels, namely body refinement, Hotian, Xiantian, Master, Martial King, Martial Emperor, and Martial Emperor. Each level is further divided into 9 grades, and the two systems are in harmony. This little girl is at the 4th grade of body refinement. Tang Zheng was shocked. Doesn't that mean she's stronger than me? Of course. She has practiced martial arts for at least 10 years. If she can't even compare to your 1 day of practice, then she should just bang her head against the wall and die. Tang Zheng blushed with shame. He was too impatient for success. I think she'll deal with you in a bit. You'll have a bitter fruit to eat, Hai. Tian Chanzi said with a hint of schadenfreude. Tang Zheng was speechless. He always wanted to keep a low profile, but the wind never stops blowing. Don't worry, I have a way to deal with her. If I can't even deal with a person at the 4th grade of body refinement, then wouldn't people laugh their heads off? Where would Tian Chanzi's reputation go? Later on, you'll have to do this. Tian Chanzi solemnly vowed to teach by example. Tang Zheng let out a sigh of relief. In addition, I'll tell you another piece of good news. This girl also has a pure yin body. Her pure yin qi does not lose to Fang Shishir. You've already absorbed a lot of pure yin qi just by sitting next to her. Tian Chanzi said again. Tang Zheng's eyes lit up. His luck was really too good. If that's the case, then as long as he sat next to Yi Dingdang, he would be able to continuously absorb pure yin qi. After class, a broadcast sounded throughout the campus. This was the time for exercises between classes. Many people walked towards the field. Yi Dingdang suddenly stood up, crossed her arms, and stared at Tang Zheng like a tiger eyeing its prey, and said, "Get up, follow me to the rooftop." Feng Yong saw this and hurriedly advised. "Sister Dingdang, Tang Zheng is our classmate. This isn't too good." Takashi walked over and pushed Feng Yong. "Fatty Feng, you dare to not stand on Sister Dingdang's side? Are you looking for a beating?" Feng Yong's throat moved. In the end, he did not dare to continue speaking. "Tang Zheng, if you're a man then come out. What are you being so wishy-washy about?" Yi Dingdang finished speaking and walked out with large strides. Tang Zheng stood up. How could he endure being called not a man? Moreover, if he didn't settle this matter, then he wouldn't be able to keep a low profile. On the rooftop, Yi Dingdang and Takashi stood proudly. They looked at Tang Zheng with ridicule. Takashi proudly said, "Sister Dingdang, how should we deal with this brat? Beat him up. Tell him to find another class. Don't even think about continuing to stay in class 7. Just looking at him annoys me," Yi Dingdang coldly said. Takashi rubbed his fists and sneered, "All right. It's been a long time since I've dealt with someone. My hands are itching." Tang Zheng expressionlessly looked at the other. He was as still as a pine tree. Yi Dingdang's eyes flashed with a strange light. If other people were to face this kind of situation, their legs would tremble and they would kneel down and beg for mercy. However, he acted as if nothing had happened. Could it be that he was stupid? Is there really no way for us to peacefully coexist? I don't have any real grudges with you. Tang Zheng lightly asked. Takashi laughed in ridicule. After offending Sister Dingdang, you still want to peacefully coexist? Let me tell you, it's too late to beg for mercy. Whoosh! Takashi's huge fist went straight for Tang Zheng. Takashi was tall and strong but his lower body was weak. He was simply relying on his brute strength. In front of an expert, it was not worth mentioning. A figure flashed and Tang Zheng disappeared. Takashi's eyes blurred as he suddenly lost his target. Just as he was feeling surprised, he found that his body was uncontrollably thrown over. He fiercely fell on the floor like a dog eating shit. Yi Dingdang's pupils shrunk as she exclaimed in a low voice, "You're also a martial artist?" Tang Zheng smiled but did not say anything. He pretended to be mysterious as he looked at her. Yi Dingdang's expression kept changing as she clenched her teeth. Takashi did not hear Yi Dingdang's exclamation. He crawled up in a sorry state and was unable to restrain his anger. He was actually beaten down by Tang Zheng. This was simply a great humiliation. "Brat, I'll make you pay a painful price. You're not worthy." Tang Zheng glanced at him from the corner of his eyes and said lightly. What was arrogance? This was true arrogance, low-key arrogance. Takashi roared. He was about to attack again when Yi Dingdang suddenly shouted coldly, "Stop, you're not his match." Takashi straightened his neck and his face flushed red. He argued, I wasn't paying attention just now and fell into his trap. This time he won't be so lucky. Shut up. I said you're not his match. Didn't you hear me? Yi Ding-dang impatiently repeated. The tall and strong Takashi suddenly lowered his head. He looked like a little wife who had been bullied. He unwillingly glared at Tang Zheng and muttered, what's so great about him? Why can't I see it? Yi Ding-dang walked forward a few steps and looked at Tang Zheng. She and Tang Zheng were about the same height. They were both 1.7 meters. Moreover, her eyes were sharp and she had a threatening heroic spirit. Tang Zheng did not shrink back in the slightest. His eyes were as calm as an ancient well. Leave class 7 and I'll act as if nothing happened. Yi Ding-dang aggressively said. Tang Zheng playfully said, why would I leave? Because I don't want to see you. Then you can leave class 7 yourself. Tang Zheng retorted. Don't even think about it. Yi Ding-dang glared at him, since it's like this, then don't blame me for being impolite. Although she knew that Tang Zheng's skills were not ordinary, she did not fear him. After all, she was an outstanding member of her family. Among her peers, there were few who could match her. Yi Ding-dang shot out a lightning-fast kick. Her elastic long leg whistled through the air as it attacked Tang Zheng's chest. Tang Zheng's eyes trembled. An expert's move was indeed extraordinary. He tapped the ground with the tip of his foot and with a spin he appeared behind her, dodging this attack. Yi Ding-dang was already prepared as she gave a cold laugh and flipped in the air. Her leg came chopping down from the air like a sharp blade. Tang Jun shot out like lightning. Heaven's gathering hand accurately grabbed onto her elastic beautiful leg. The powerful force caused his hand to hurt, but he could only clench his teeth and persevere. This was his only chance to win. His strength was not as good as Yi Ding-dang's. If he wanted to win, he could only use clever methods. Let go. Yi Ding-dang tenderly reprimanded. Her internal energy erupted as she prepared to shake off Tang Zheng. Suddenly, Tang Zheng's hand touched her inner thigh. She felt as if she had been electrocuted as her entire body went numb. All of her internal energy collapsed and she softly fell into Tang Zheng's embrace, unable to move. The two people's posture was very ambiguous. Yi Ding-dang struck Tang Zheng's body. She had practiced martial arts since she was a child, so her body's flexibility was extraordinary. Otherwise, she would not have been able to do such a difficult move. Yi Ding-dang's heart was aghast. That strike just now was the pressure point technique. That was why her body went numb and she lost control of her body. He actually knows the pressure point technique. Isn't this something that only a Hotian realm martial artist can do? Could it be that he is already a Hotian realm martial artist at such a young age? How is that possible? Yi Ding-dang was extremely shocked. One must know that the pressure point technique required one's internal energy to be vigorous. Moreover, one must be extremely accurate in identifying the pressure point. But Tang Zheng was like a veteran in this field. He was able to succeed so quickly. How could she not be shocked? Yi Ding-dang was immersed in shock. She did not notice the two people's ambiguous posture. But Takashi, who was watching from the side, was dumbstruck. He fiercely slapped himself in the face. Pain, this was not an illusion. Takashi was unable to restrain his anger. This Tang Zheng was too shameless. He actually used this kind of despicable trick to touch Yi Ding-dang's thigh. One must know that Takashi's beautiful legs were actually desecrated by Tang Zheng. He was about to go crazy. Tang Zheng was relieved. Tian Chanzi really did not lie to him. Although his strength was a bit lacking, his pressure point technique was a magic weapon to win. Hey, kid, how is it? This move is amazing, right? Tian Chanzi proudly said, let me tell you, the pressure point technique can only be done by Hotian realm martial artists. But you can do it now. This is the advantage that we cultivators have over martial artists. In the early stages of cultivation, our true qi is much more vigorous than the internal energy of martial artists. There are many mysteries. Tang Zheng did not pay attention to Tian Chanzi's boasting. Instead, he looked at Yi Dingdang with a burning gaze. Being so close to her, he could further appreciate her beautiful face. His heart could not help but tremble. Before, he had never been so close to the opposite sex, especially such a great beauty. His ignorant mind could not help but have a strange feeling. Yi Dingdang came back to her senses. Looking at Tang Zheng's strange eyes and the ambiguous posture between the two, she could not help but blush. She reprimanded in a low voice, "Quickly unseal my pressure point. If I unseal your pressure point, you will attack again. I am not that stupid. Do you want to unseal it or not?" As a proud child of heaven, Yi Dingdang had never suffered such a big grievance. She was ashamed and angry. "I don't understand," Tang Zheng stubbornly said. "You." Yi Dingdang was speechless. Chapter 8. Lu Qingmei looked at this scene in astonishment. This position was too ambiguous. Didn't Feng Yong say that Tang Zheng was being bullied? This kind of bullying was truly a blessing in disguise. Feng Yong was dumbstruck. He was kind enough to bring in his teacher as a helper, but he seemed to have disturbed the good thing between the two. Tang Zheng was too strong. He had only just arrived and he was already progressing so quickly with the great beauty Yi Dingdang. Tang Zheng and Yi Dingdang both looked towards the rooftop at the same time. When they saw Lu Qingmei, they were shocked. "Bastard, release me!" Yi Dingdang angrily roared. Tang Zheng tapped on her thigh and Yi Dingdang regained her freedom. She retreated like lightning, increasing the distance between the two. Lu Qingmei frowned. Yi Dingdang had always been very arrogant. She heard that many people had chased after her, but none had ever succeeded. Who would have thought that Tang Zheng would beat her to it? She couldn't help but look at Tang Zheng in a new light. This is a school. Pay attention to your image, Lu Qingmei coldly said. She didn't give them another glance and turned around to leave. Yi Dingdang was at a loss for words and shouted, "Teacher Lu, we are not like what you think." Lu Qingmei didn't even turn her head as if she didn't hear anything. "Tang Zheng, it's all your fault." Yi Dingdang fiercely glared at Tang Zheng. She gnashed her teeth, wishing that she could skin him alive. "Sure." Tang Zheng shrugged and said, "You were the one who called me to the rooftop. Who can you blame? I only want to study seriously. Don't disturb me in the future." Tang Zheng walked down the rooftop in large strides. Feng Yong looked at him with eyes full of stars. His worship was like a torrential river, continuous and unending. Too handsome. No one else in the school dared to be so domineering in front of Yi Dingdang. "Sister Dingdang, are you letting him go so easily?" Takashi asked unwillingly. Yi Dingdang rolled her eyes at him and snorted, "Then what else do you want? I know some people outside the school. Ask them to deal with him." Takashi's eyes flashed with a trace of ruthlessness. Yi Dingdang sneered noncommittally, thinking that he was an idiot. She strode away from the rooftop, leaving Takashi alone in the cold wind. It wasn't that Yi Dingdang didn't want to take revenge, but Tang Zheng actually knew the pressure point technique. This meant that his strength was more than one level higher than hers. A Hotian realm martial artist was already a true master. Even if she wanted to take revenge, there was no way. But she also didn't want to immediately go back to the classroom and face that face. Otherwise she would definitely be angered to death. She directly left the school. She was already familiar with skipping classes. Tang Zheng swaggered back to the classroom. Feng Yong eagerly followed behind him and asked in a gossipy manner, "Tang Zheng, how did you get Sister Dingdang?" "Let me correct you. I have nothing to do with her," Tang Zheng sternly said. Feng Yong laughed strangely and said, "You call that nothing to do with her? What do you mean by something to do with her? Hey, your posture just now was really ecstatic. So Sister Ding Dang called you to the rooftop to do this. I think she wanted to chase you. I didn't expect her to be such a proactive girl. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have told the teacher to disturb your good time." Tang Zheng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Since Feng Yong had already decided on this matter, he was too lazy to explain. But the other party had good intentions and was worried that he would be bullied and even called him teacher. This made him have a good impression of Feng Yong. "Tang Zheng, from now on you will be my boss and I will be your little brother," Feng Yong suddenly said. Tang Zheng was stunned. What kind of rhythm was this? He had never thought of taking in a little brother. But looking at Feng Yong's sincere eyes, his heart was moved. From Gao Daji's attitude towards Feng Yong, it could be seen that although Feng Yong was the class monitor of Class 7, he was obviously in a disadvantaged group. He couldn't help but think of his own experience during this period of time and sympathize with him. "Good, from now on follow me. No one will dare to bully you," Tang Zheng firmly said. Feng Yong's heart was bursting with joy as he fiercely nodded, "Yes, boss." Hey, boss, Sister Ding Dang is so beautiful. Since she wants to chase you, then boss's luck with women is not shallow. But towards women, you can't agree too quickly. You have to keep her in suspense. Stop. Tang Zheng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Feng Yong actually taught him the tricks to pick up girls. After the morning class ended, Tang Zheng didn't see Yi Ding Dang again. He couldn't help but feel a little disappointed as he didn't have the opportunity to absorb pure yin energy. He could only concentrate on learning and training. In the cafeteria, Tang Zheng took the food and buried his head in eating. Pengcheng International School's cafeteria was not only decorated in a grand manner, but the taste was also absolutely first class. It was not comparable to other public schools because the chefs were all from 5-star hotels. There was also a division between Chinese and Western food. There was no lack of exotic delicacies. Although Tang Zheng was exempted from tuition fees, he still had to take care of his own living expenses. So every meal he chose the cheapest meal. But this still wasn't a small expense for him. Look, that's Tang Zheng. He used to be first in the city, but now he's last. Hey, what a genius. You still don't know, right? He was kicked out of Class 1 and is now in the Hell class. Your information is all outdated. Today he created another big news. It said that Yi Ding Dang is chasing after him. Damn, it can't be. How could Yi Ding Dang fall for him? How could he be worthy of Yi Ding Dang, who is as beautiful as a fairy? It's true. It's already been exposed on the forum. It's absolutely explosive. Then I'll go take a look. This is definitely the biggest news of the year. Tang Zheng didn't care at first. After all these months of cynicism and ridicule, his ears were already numb. But after listening to the end, he couldn't help but be stunned. How could the matter between him and Yi Ding Dang be exposed on the forum? Pengcheng's forum was created by a few students who were passionate about network technology. It was very famous among the students. Almost all the news in the school would be presented on the forum. Tang Zheng's phone wasn't a smartphone. It was an old phone that could only make calls and send text messages. So he couldn't go on the forum and see what was being said. But this didn't stop him from analyzing the matter. At that time, there were only 5 people present. Yi Ding Dang and Lu Qingmei couldn't have posted it. So there was only Takashi and Feng Yong left. Takashi suffered a setback, so he probably wouldn't expose himself. The answer was obvious, Feng Yong. Boss, you're here. I've been looking for you for a long time. Speaking of the devil, Feng Yong walked over with a tray. Boss, now you're famous. Humph, let's see who dares to look down on you in the future. What did you do? Of course I publicized your great achievements. Boss, you don't know how many boys in the school are drooling over Yi Dingdang. Now that Yi Dingdang is chasing you, you can make them give up. Feng Yong said excitedly. You were the one who posted the post on the forum? Of course. I'm one of the forum moderators. I spent 2 classes to write this post. I don't think I'm even that serious when it comes to writing essays. Give me your phone. Tang Zheng took Feng Yong's phone and entered the forum. He saw a post that was pinned to the top. The post's name was very cool. School Bell Yi Dingdang's man. Tang Zheng almost vomited blood. When did he become the school bell's man? Actually, this post didn't need to be pinned. It would still be at the top because there were already close to 1,000 replies. Moreover, it was still increasing. The post described in detail how Yi Dingdang fell in love with Tang Zheng and how she pursued him relentlessly. She even invited him to the rooftop to talk about her lovesickness. At the end, the post analyzed that Yi Dingdang must have long been secretly in love with him. This was enough to explain why she rejected all her previous pursuers. It was because she had always been secretly in love with Tang Zheng. It was only because they weren't in the same class that she didn't have a chance. Now that they were in the same class, she launched a fierce pursuit. All in all, the post's analysis was clear and logical. It was reasonable and it made people have no choice but to believe it. The people who replied to the post had all kinds of opinions. There was no lack of people who scolded Tang Zheng for being a toad who wanted to eat swan meat. There were also people who cried out for themselves. They were so handsome and rich, so why couldn't they receive Yi Dingdang's favor? Tang Zheng didn't know whether to laugh or cry after reading it. He didn't know what to say. Boss, I wrote pretty well, right? Hi hey, now that the famous flower is taken, Sister Dingdang is yours. Feng Yong said eagerly. Tang Zheng fiercely glared at him and said, It's all because of you. Feng Yong was shocked. What's wrong, boss? Could it be that I didn't write well enough? There's nothing between me and Yi Dingdang. I know, but that was in the past. Something will definitely happen in the future. I want to keep a low profile. Tang Zheng helplessly said. Feng Yong laughed. Boss, you are the school's most famous person. How many eyes are watching you? How can you keep a low profile? In my opinion, you have to keep a high profile. Keep a high profile so that everyone looks up to you. Tang Zheng let out a long sigh. Things had already gotten to this point, so blaming Feng Yong was useless. Boss, look, you have already soared to the top of the school's most famous person list. Feng Yong said as he pointed to a list on the school's forums. This forum would make a list based on the popularity of the person. In the past, Tang Zheng's grades were excellent and he was often on the list. The most recent time he was on the list was because he had gotten last place in his first exam after being injured. This attracted countless ridicule. During this period of time, he had been silent and did not make the list. However, today's explosive news made him return to the top of the school's most famous person list. Xiao Fei was also looking at the forums. When he saw the name at the top of the school's most famous person list, it was like a steel needle piercing his heart. His expression became sinister. Fuck, how did he get on the list again? Moreover, it's because Yi Dingdang chased after him. What a joke, how could Yi Dingdang like him? It wasn't that Xiao Fei didn't have thoughts about Yi Dingdang's beauty, but that was a rose with thorns. He preferred the gentle daffodil Fang Shishir. A salted fish wants to make a comeback. In your dreams. This time I will make it so that you won't be able to make a comeback. Xiao Fei thought of a plan and directly went to find Takashi. Pa! Chapter 9. When Xiao Fei saw this, he knowingly asked, Takashi, what happened to you? Who made you so angry? Gao Daji glanced at Xiao Fei. The two of them knew each other, but they didn't interact much. However, Gao Daji didn't like Xiao Fei, as he felt that Xiao Fei's every move was filled with gloominess. What does it have to do with you? Takashi said in a bad mood. Xiao Fei's eyes flashed with a trace of anger as he said, "Today I saw an article and felt that it was necessary to tell you." What article? Pengqing Forum said that Yi Dingdang chased after Tang Zheng. I know that you have always been chasing after Yi Dingdang, so I came to tell you that some people look harmless on the surface, but if you do not take precautions early on, be careful of causing a big mistake. Xiao Fei said. Takashi angrily said, "What do you mean?" Xiao Fei smiled and said, "You know what I mean. You want me to deal with Tang Zheng. What, are you scared? Right now he is already useless. Could it be that you are still scared of him?" Xiao Fei said. "Who said I'm scared? He is an egg. I can crush him to death in minutes." Takashi retorted, but he could not help but think back to the scene on the rooftop where he fell flat on his face. Yi Dingdang was also confused and lost. He still could not understand Tang Zheng's strength. Could it be that he was pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger? You and Tang Zheng have been in the same class for 2 years. Can he really fight? Takashi asked. Xiao Fei acted as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world and could not help but laugh. "Ha, he can fight? Are you joking? He is just a nerd who does not even have the strength to truss a chicken." Takashi seemed to understand that if Tang Zheng could really fight, then half a year ago he would not have been hit in the head and turned into a cripple. It seems that today he was too careless and fell into his opponent's trap. Takashi, Tang Zheng is sinister and crafty. If you hesitate, then Yi Dingdang will really become his woman. Xiao Fei said, fanning the flames. In your dreams. Takashi roared. He had bitterly pursued Yi Dingdang for 2 years without any results. Subconsciously he had always considered Yi Dingdang as his own and would not allow others to touch her. "Xiao Fei, you want me to help you deal with Tang Zheng?" Takashi's eyes shrunk as he coldly said. Although Gao Daji was a big guy, he wasn't an idiot. He was very clear about what Xiao Fei was planning. Xiao Fei sneered and said, "I'm just worried about you. Heng, I do not have such a close relationship with you. But I have heard that Tang Zheng's grades have always been higher than yours. Although you are the class president, you do not receive as much attention as Tang Zheng. Even Fang Shishir looks at Tang Zheng differently. Are you not jealous?" "What is there to be jealous about?" said Xiao Fei. Takashi laughed. "There is no point in lying in front of me. I will not expose you. Moreover, the attack on Tang Zheng half a year ago, hey, I do not think it is that simple. It could not have been ordered by you, right?" Xiao Fei's face suddenly changed as if someone had seen through his secret. He hurriedly denied, "You can eat whatever you want, but you cannot speak whatever you want." Takashi shrugged and said, "Whether or not it was done by you has nothing to do with me. In any case, this time I will teach Tang Zheng a lesson. I have heard that you know some hoodlums outside of school." Xiao Fei said as if he had thought of something. Takashi coldly laughed and declined to comment. When Tang Zheng returned to the classroom, he discovered that his classmates were looking at him strangely. He could only bitterly smile and continue to immerse himself in studying and cultivating. He was very interested in the pressure point technique that Tian Chanzi had taught him, but he did not know anything about the various pressure points of the body. Tian Chanzi patiently explained to him one by one. He learned very quickly and memorized the position and function of each pressure point. In the future, even if he were to face someone stronger than him, with this technique he would be in an invincible position. But his Jinqi was not strong enough and could only make the opponent lose the ability to move for 5 minutes. According to Tian Chanzi, if the pressure point technique was practiced to the peak, it could make a person unable to move for a lifetime. Tang Zheng was fascinated as he thought about it. This pressure point technique was just too awesome. "Little brat, this pressure point technique is just an insignificant skill. Us cultivators' body locking technique is the truly powerful one. Just by chanting an incantation, even if you don't touch the opponent you can still make them unable to move." Tian Chanzi said with a snort of contempt. Tang Zheng's eyes blossomed as he said, then when can I learn the body locking technique? Third grade refining qi. Tang Zheng clenched his teeth as he had to reach the third grade refining qi as soon as possible. This was like a watershed. To learn techniques one had to reach the third grade refining qi, and to refine the life-continuing pill to extend his grandfather's life he also had to reach the third grade refining qi. Tang Zheng felt that his time was too tight. The school bell rang and everyone carried their bags home. Feng Yong followed beside Tang Zheng and chattered non-stop. Boss, what school are you going to apply to in the future? Is it Beijing's Yanqing University? Feng Yong asked curiously. Tang Zheng was suddenly startled. Before he could not study, so he did not consider this question. Now that he had recovered, where would he go to study? If he left ordinary Balance City, then he would not be able to take care of his grandfather. I don't know. It's still early, so I'll see. He absent-mindedly said. Hey, boss is so smart, so it will definitely be Yanqing University. Feng Yong said. Which university do you want to apply to? Tang Zheng asked. Feng Yong dejectedly said, with my grades, I would be thankful if I could get into a third-grade university. However, my family has already used their connections, and in the future I will also go to Yanqing University. There are many resources and connections there, so if I can get to know more people, then it will be beneficial for me to take over my family's business. What kind of business does your family do? Tang Zheng casually asked. Feng Yong's face became embarrassed as he awkwardly said, we do a small business. Tang Zheng saw that he did not want to speak in detail, so he did not pursue the matter. I see that the people in our class are not stupid, so why can't they improve their grades? Tang Zheng curiously asked. After listening to a few classes today, he found that the teachers were all very skilled and were not any worse than the teachers in Class 1. Pengcheng International School hired the best teachers in the country, and even if it was the hell class, the teachers were all truly talented. We are all children of rich families, and many of us have already been arranged by our families, so why would we need to study so hard? Feng Yong's words exposed the mystery. Tang Zheng shook his head as he could not understand the mentality of these rich kids and said, after all, relying on one's father is not a long-term solution. To forge iron, one needs to be strong. Feng Yong's face turned red as he said, boss is right. I'm not talking about you. I'm just speaking from my heart. No, my father often says these words, but I have never paid attention to them. However, it is too late to say these words. My foundation is poor and there are still 3 months until the college entrance exam, so there is no point in cramming at the last minute. Feng Yong said disappointedly. No, if you sharpen your spear at the last minute, even if it is not fast, it will still shine. As long as you have confidence, your grades will definitely improve. Tang Zheng firmly said, Feng Yong, in the future I will tutor you and guarantee that your grades will improve. Since Feng Yong called him boss, then he can't be a boss for nothing. Feng Yong was overjoyed, as with the help of a top student his grades will definitely improve and his pocket money will naturally increase. Thinking of this, his eyes couldn't help but shine. During this time I will find some time to draw up a study plan for you and then find some time to tutor you. Good. Thank you, boss. Yo, boss. Fatty, why didn't you choose a powerful person to worship? Why did you choose this skinny kid? You really don't have a good eye. Suddenly, the two were blocked by 6 fierce-looking punks. What do you want? Feng Yong fearfully asked. Fatty, scram to the side. This has nothing to do with you. The hoodlums waved their hands and impatiently said as they stared at Tang Zheng. You guys are here to deal with me. Tang Zheng's pupils shrank as he couldn't help but remember the attack a few months ago. At that time he didn't even see the opponent clearly and was hit in the head. Then several people punched and kicked him until he fainted. He didn't even see the appearance of the murderer clearly. Now that he already has martial arts, there are still people who want to bully him. They are simply seeking their own death. Hey, you are Tang Zheng, right? Someone wants you to learn to be a bit more obedient. People must know their own limits. There are some people that you can't touch. The hoodlum proudly said. What do you mean? Ha, this kid has become stupid from studying. Let me tell you, in the future stay away from Yi Ding Dang. Don't fucking think that a toad eating a swan's meat. The hoodlum arrogantly said. Tang Zheng helplessly glanced at Feng Yong. Feng Yong bitterly said, Boss, I also didn't know it would turn out like this. Who sent you guys? Tang Zheng asked. Fuck, you don't have the qualifications to ask. Brothers, attack. Stop. Feng Yong fearfully stopped them. Open your dog eyes and take a look. This is Pengcheng International School. If you dare to make a move here, then be careful that you won't be able to bear the consequences. Hi hey, who are you trying to scare? This kid is just a pauper, so who would stick out for him? Moreover, this is outside the school and not inside the school. The hoodlum already had a countermeasure, as he proudly said. Tang Zheng looked around and discovered that the other students were pointing at him, but no one came to help. The school's security was originally prepared to come over, but upon seeing that it was Tang Zheng, they resentfully left. It was clear that they knew of Tang Zheng's identity. He had already fallen from the altar and had become an insignificant person. There were even people in the crowd who mocked and ridiculed Tang Zheng, saying that wanting to be with Yi Ding Dang was just asking for trouble. There were many people who liked Yi Ding Dang and were happy to see Tang Zheng suffer. Takashi and Xiao Fei hid in the crowd and watched from afar. The corners of their mouths hooked up into a complacent sneer. Boss, I will block them, so you quickly run. They won't dare to do anything to me. Feng Yong stood in front of Tang Zheng and said in a low voice. Chapter 10. Ha, kid, you're so useless. You actually need this fatty to protect you. You're such a lousy boss. The hooligan mocked. Tang Jun's expression didn't change as he said to Feng Yong, just watch from the side. I'll be fine. They can't do anything to me. Feng Yong was startled. He had carefully inquired about Tang Jun's situation, but he didn't hear that he was very good at fighting. He wanted to persuade him again, but when he saw Tang Jun's resolute gaze, he swallowed his words. Tang Jun looked around and found that everyone was stretching their necks to watch the show. He didn't want to fight in public. He wanted to keep a low profile. How about we go to the alley over there? It'll be troublesome to fight here. Tang Jun suggested. The hooligan was stunned for a moment, then he laughed evilly. Ha, this kid is really stupid from studying. Okay, we'll satisfy you. Go to the alley over there. Let me tell you, don't even think about escaping. Actually, the hooligan felt a little guilty about fighting in front of so many people. If this kid called the police and pursued the matter, with so many witnesses, they wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. So when they heard Tang Jun's suggestion, they were overjoyed. They thought that Tang Jun was really scared silly. Boss, I'll go with you. Feng Yong mustered up his courage and said loudly. No need. You keep watch outside the alley. Don't let anyone in. Tang Jun said. Feng Yong wanted to refute, but Tang Jun stopped him with a look. The alley wasn't deep, and there was no one else. The 6 hooligans surrounded Tang Jun in the middle and laughed evilly. Tell me who sent you. I'll let you suffer less. Tang Jun said without changing his expression. Ha, kid, it seems like you're really scared silly. Brothers, let's go. With a command, the hooligans attacked with their fists and feet. Tang Jun's lips curled into a sneer. He moved like lightning. Heaven Luo hand was used, and the sky was filled with shadows. It was like an inescapable net, and the hooligans had nowhere to hide. Bang bang bang, with a series of muffled sounds, the 5 hooligans flew out and crashed into the wall. They cried out in pain and cried for their parents. It was incomparably miserable. The leader of the hooligans was dumbfounded. He had been defeated in the blink of an eye. This was 2F** King Strange. Tang Jun walked towards him with a cold face. He was so scared that he hurriedly retreated. He pulled out a dagger from his waist and shouted, "Don't come over, or I'll stab you to death. You're courting death." Tang Jun moved his feet and appeared in front of the other party. The hooligan stabbed forward, but found that his hand was empty. Somehow, the dagger was in Tang Jun's hand. Tang Jun wielded his dagger, drawing out a series of saber flowers, dazzling the other party. Suddenly, a cold light flashed and the dagger was pressed against the gangster's throat. The gangster's face turned pale and he shouted, "What are you doing?" He already knew that he had met an expert who he could not afford to offend. However, he was not prepared to beg for mercy immediately. That would be very embarrassing. "Speak, who sent you here?" Tang Jun asked coldly. "If you have the guts, then kill me." The hooligan pretended to be unyielding and said. Tang Jun's eyes turned cold, and the hooligan felt a chill in his heart. Tang Jun's every move was filled with power, especially when he was really angry. The aura that he emitted from the inside out was not something an ordinary person could withstand. "Since that's the case, then I'll fulfill your wish." Tang Jun stabbed forward and the dagger cut the skin on his throat. The hooligan turned pale with fright and screamed, "It's Takashi Takashi, Takashi Takashi. Takashi Takashi." The dagger stopped and Tang Jun's two thick eyebrows knitted together. "Takashi Takashi, I have no enmity with you. You actually sent people to deal with me. Humph, very good. I will definitely not let you off." Tang Jun never took the initiative to stir up trouble, but he was not afraid of others. Others had already bullied him. If he was a coward, then he might as well kill himself. Pang! A hand chop landed on the hooligan's neck and he fell limply to the ground. Feng Yong was like an ant on a hot pan as he paced back and forth in the alleyway. He originally wanted to go in and investigate, but when he thought of Tang Jun's resolute gaze, he wavered. Boss is so confident. He will definitely be fine. Bodhisattva, please protect him. Boss will definitely be fine. Feng Yong comforted himself. Suddenly, a familiar figure walked out. His eyes lit up as he flew over and circled around Tang Jun. "Boss, are you alright?" Tang Jun smiled and said, "Do I look like I'm not alright?" They didn't make a move. Feng Yong was skeptical. Those people did not look like good people. How could they just let things go? Tang Jun mysteriously said, "We are scholars. If we can use our words, then we definitely won't use our fists." After listening to my teachings, they turned over a new leaf. Really? Feng Yong was in disbelief. Tang Jun did not reply. His gaze swept around and he saw a person, Takashi Takashi. Takashi Takashi also saw him. He was so scared that he hurriedly avoided Tang Jun's gaze. Takashi Takashi was very puzzled. How could Tang Jun be safe and sound? How could his face not be bruised and swollen? Those hoodlums took the money and did not do anything. They were too King unkind. But he did not have time to think about it because Tang Jun walked straight towards him. Takashi Takashi hurriedly hid behind the crowd. The others also looked at Tang Jun in astonishment. Especially Qiao Fei, who was dumbstruck. His mouth was so wide open that an egg could be stuffed in. "Takashi Takashi, why are you running?" Tang Jun mockingly shouted. Takashi Takashi had no choice but to stop and turn around. His face was very ugly as he said, "When did I run?" "You did something wrong, so you want to run?" "Who did something wrong? Don't slander me." Takashi Takashi's face turned red as he retorted. Before, he did not put Tang Jun in his eyes. But at this moment, Tang Jun was filled with a mysterious feeling in his eyes. He could not help but feel fear. "Those hoodlums have already sold you out. Do you still want to deny it?" "Nonsense. I have nothing to say to you. I want to go home." Takashi Takashi finished speaking and hurriedly prepared to leave. How could Tang Jun let him have his way? But there were too many people here. He could not do anything to him. But if he did not teach him a lesson, how could he vent the anger in his heart? He pointed his finger. Takashi was immediately unable to move. He maintained his advancing posture like a statue. What did you do? Takashi turned pale with fright. He used all of his skills but still could not move. Tang Jun gave an enigmatic smile and walked away, minding his own business. Takashi panicked. He had never encountered such a situation. It was as if he had seen a ghost. He shouted, Tang Jun, don't go. Let me go. Tang Jun turned a deaf ear and walked away. Feng Yong stared dumbstruck at the comical Takashi. He then ran to catch up to Tang Jun and said, Boss, what happened to him? Why did he turn into a block of wood? Tang Jun shrugged his shoulders and said, maybe he did too many bad things and was punished by the heavens. Serves him right. You don't know how arrogant Takashi is usually. He relies on his strength to bully the weak. Many people in our class hate him to death. That's right, boss. When you entered the classroom today, the bucket of water on the door was placed by him. He often pranks people. Feng Yong said, venting his anger. Tang Jun understood tacitly. Feng Yong, the class monitor, must have been bullied by Gao Daji. Immediately, he became even angrier at Gao Daji. However, they were classmates after all. This time, he would teach Feng Yong a lesson. He sealed Feng Yong's acupoints and made him look bad for a few minutes. In the future he will not be able to bully others. Tang Jun said indifferently. Feng Yong's eyes lit up. His heart was like a mirror. Although Tang Jun did not say it, Takashi's predicament was definitely related to him. Following this kind of boss was definitely awesome. Tang Jun, don't go. Let me go. Takashi screamed at the top of his lungs. It attracted everyone's attention. Looking at his face that was redder than a monkey's butt, everyone pointed and mocked him. Takashi was about to go crazy. He had never been humiliated like this before. What the F***ck is going on? His heart could not help but feel a deep sense of fear. Xiao Fei coldly watched from the side. He was really confused. Takashi was definitely not acting. Something must have happened to his body. But this was beyond his imagination. He did not see Tang Jun make any movements, so why did Takashi become like a puppet? Xiao Fei's heart moved. He hurriedly ran into the alleyway only to find it empty. Those hoodlums had already escaped. He also had no way to ask what happened. Xiao Fei's expression became gloomy and uncertain as he looked in the direction Tang Jun disappeared in. He clenched his teeth in hatred. What exactly happened to this trash's body? Why did he suddenly become a different person? Put on. Suddenly, a muffled sound followed by a blood-curdling scream. Takashi fell flat on his face. He was battered and exhausted. The pressure point technique could only last for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, Takashi's pressure points were automatically unsealed. But he maintained his advancing posture. He was originally struggling with all his strength. Suddenly breaking free, he lost his balance and fell down. Ha! The crowd let out a deafening laughter. Takashi wished he could find a hole to crawl into. Battered and exhausted, he crawled up and ran away from the school. This drama was immediately spread to the Pengcheng forum. Although everyone did not understand what happened to Takashi, they were certain that he was beaten up badly by Tang Jun. In short, Takashi's face was swept to the ground. Tang Jun's attention soared. The school's most influential person list left the second place by a large margin. However, Takashi also entered the school's most influential person list because of this matter. But everyone was ridiculing him. Takashi never thought that he would enter the list in such a way. Tang Jun parted ways with Feng Yong and ran all the way home. Suddenly, he stopped in his tracks and looked at his small house from afar. The front of the house was in a mess. Things were strewn all over the floor, including his old books. These were all treasures that his grandfather had collected like treasures. Chapter 11. Grandfather. Tang Zheng saw his grandfather lying on the wooden bed and the house in a mess, his heart filled with an indescribable fear. "Little June, you're back." Tang Dahai weakly called out. Tang Zheng's head loosened, he thought that his grandfather had met with an accident and left him forever. He hurriedly rushed over and found that his grandfather's face was pale and his complexion was very poor. "Grandfather, who did this?" Tang Dahai sat up and lovingly stroked Tang Zheng's head, squeezed out a smile and said, "You don't have to worry about it, everything is in the past." "No, I must find this bastard for revenge." Tang Zheng roared in a low voice. Tang Dahai's face sank, took a deep breath and said, "Little Zheng, you're not allowed to curse. Be good, be obedient, you tidy up the house, I'll go cook. After eating, you should rest early, you still have class tomorrow." Tang Zheng wanted to say more, but seeing his grandfather's determined eyes, he could only change the topic. "Grandfather, you rest well, I'll cook after I'm done tidying up." Tang Dahai saw that he did not pursue the matter, let out a sigh of relief and said, "Little Zheng's cooking skills are much better than grandfather's, then grandfather will continue to be lazy." Tang Zheng squeezed out a wry smile, silently tidying up the house while pondering. Grandpa has always been kind to others, and has never been angry with others, but this time he was bullied to the top of his head, and even the house was smashed. Grandfather did not say anything because he was afraid that I would be implicated. I will definitely not let these bastards get away with it. This is most likely related to the person from the garbage dump yesterday. He mentioned something about brother who. I will definitely find him. Tang Zheng spent 2 hours tidying up the house and cooking. After eating with his grandfather, he went to bed early. He laid on the bed, quietly listening to the movements in his grandfather's room. After his grandfather's breathing stabilized and he fell asleep, he tiptoed out of the bed and jumped out of the window, quickly disappearing into the night. Midnight, Glory World Bar. When the city was asleep, it was the busiest time for the bar. The loud music was deafening, and all kinds of men and women were shuttling back and forth. It was Tang Zheng's first time in a bar, so he couldn't help but feel a little curious and unfamiliar. Looking at the scantily clad men and women hugging each other in public, he couldn't help but blush as his heart surged. He quickly stabilized his mind and looked around, searching for his target. He found out that Tiger's base camp was Xingshi Bar, and he spent most of his time there. However, only after arriving did they realize that there was a sea of people and it was not easy to find them. Suddenly, a familiar figure, Dong Zi, jumped into his line of sight. Both of Dong Zi's arms were in plaster and he went straight to the second floor of the bar. Tang Zheng hurriedly chased after him. "Halt!" 2 big men stood at the top of the stairs and blocked Tang Zheng's way. "The second floor is a private space. Unauthorized people are not allowed to come close. If you want to play, you can play on the first floor." When Tang Zheng saw that Dong Zi was about to disappear at the end of the corridor, he didn't care about exposing his identity. His 2 fists struck the big man's chest. The 2 men clutched their chests and fell to the ground. Tang Zheng's figure flashed and chased after them. When Dong Zi entered a room, he immediately stuck his ear to the door. However, he couldn't hear what was going on inside. The sound insulation was too good. Bang! He kicked the door open and rushed in. Inside the room, Dong Zi's roar echoed, "Who are you? Don't you know that this is a forbidden area?" Tang Zheng looked around. There were 2 men and 1 woman in the room. Tang Zheng's attention was completely attracted by another man. This man had a stocky back and a bare waist. He was tall and strong. His upper body was bare and there was a tiger tattoo on his chest. He didn't look angry but he was imposing. In his arms sat a flirtatious woman. Her collar was wide open, revealing her snow-white skin. His hand was inside the collar, causing the woman to laugh again and again. "You are Tiger Brother?" Tang Zheng stared at him and asked. Lin Hu's eyes trembled as he looked at the uninvited guest and said, "Who are you? You dare to intrude into my territory?" Dong Zi had already recognized Tang Zheng. This face was his nightmare. How could he forget? He hurriedly shouted, "Tiger Brother, I know this brat. He is the grandson of the old man who picks up trash in the garbage dump." "It's you." Lin Hu's pupils shrunk. He was somewhat angry. "Little brother, we were looking for you everywhere. Do you know that you are walking right into a trap?" "Humph, walking right into a trap. I don't think so. You group of despicable villains, if you have any problems, just come at me. You actually dared to smash my home and even deal with my grandfather. Today, I will properly settle this account with you." Tang Zheng angrily roared like an angry lion. Lin Hu's face revealed suspicion as he looked at Dong Zi. Dong Zi's face was at a loss as he said, "Tiger Brother, I didn't do it. I was still looking for this brat everywhere." "Nonsense, of course you would deny it." Tang Zheng would not believe the other's excuses. A real man dares to take responsibility for his actions. If you did it, then you did it. If you didn't do it, then you didn't do it. I, Lin Hu, have been in the Jianghu for so many years. The people of the underworld all know my character. As long as I did it, I will not deny it. Lin Hu solemnly vowed. "Brat, don't speak without thinking. If I really find you, I will definitely beat you until you are looking for your teeth on the floor. How can I still let you stand here?" Dong Zi arrogantly said. Tang Zheng's eyebrows twisted as he stared at Tiger Brother. He found that his eyes were firm. Could it be that this matter really wasn't done by him? But if it wasn't him, then who was it? But Dong Zi's words gave Tang Zheng a wake-up call. Even if this matter wasn't done by them, they still did not change their minds. They were currently searching everywhere for his whereabouts, waiting for an opportunity to retaliate. "It seems like the lesson you received last time was not enough." Tang Zheng coldly stared at Dong Zi. Dong Zi's heart thumped as he involuntarily looked at his own arm and plaster. That heart-wrenching pain once again attacked his heart. "Little brother, today you dare to say such ruthless words in my territory. You really don't put me in your eyes," Lin Hu said in a dignified manner. Tang Zheng cast a sidelong glance at Lin Hu. This person was not a good person. He was actually a second-grade refining body martial artist. But Tang Zheng was still not worried as he said, "You want to deal with me, yet you still want me to put you in my eyes. You must be dreaming. It's good to be young and impetuous, but if you are too arrogant, then you will attract unexpected calamity." Lin Hu's voice became cold as he warned. "Brother Hu, why are you saying so much to this brat? Fiercely beat him up and let him know how powerful we are." Dong Zi clamored. Bang! The door was knocked open and 10 lackeys rushed in. Glaring at Tang Zheng, they surrounded him and said, "Brother Hu, the two brothers at the stairs were knocked down by this brat. Ah, it seems like you really do have some ability." Lin Hu jokingly laughed, but his hand never left the seductive girl's chest. He wantonly rubbed it, causing her to laugh again and again. "Since you've come to my place, then as the host, if I don't properly entertain you, wouldn't people laugh their heads off if this were to spread?" Suddenly, Lin Hu's face darkened. "Do it." The lackeys quickly attacked Tang Zheng, but Tang Zheng also moved. Like a whirlwind, he rushed toward Brother Hu like lightning. He jumped over the desk like a rock spreading its wings. To catch bandits, first catch the leader. Lin Hu was shocked, he did not expect Tang Zheng's speed to be so fast. In the blink of an eye, he was already in front of him. He punched out, wanting to gain the initiative. Bang! Two fists collided, Tang Zheng flew back. His big hand grabbed the desk, stabilized his body, and then fiercely pounced forward. Roar! Lin Hu angrily roared, and pushed the girl in his arms forward, knocking her into Tang Zheng's chest. Tang Zheng's big hand grabbed, it was soft, and it turned out that he had grabbed the girl's chest. The girl involuntarily screamed, "Rogue!" Tang Zheng was a little embarrassed, his big hand moved to the side, causing the girl to fall to the side. But at this time, Lin Hu, who was hiding behind the girl, had already launched an attack. Bang! Tang Zheng took a solid punch, and fiercely fell on the desk. "Quickly catch him!" Dong Zi loudly shouted. All the lackeys had already rushed over. If he was suppressed, it would be difficult for him to escape. "Little brat, quickly catch the opponent's leader, or else you'll be in trouble," Tian Chanzi hurriedly reminded. "You don't need to tell me, I know." Tang Zheng jumped up like a carp, flipped over, and narrowly dodged the lackey's siege. His feet tapped on the ground, and once again attacked Lin Hu. Heaven Luo hand, like an inescapable net, Lin Hu had nowhere to hide. He retreated again and again, until he reached the wall. There was no way out. His heart was shocked. Where did this person come from, to be so powerful? But there was no time for him to be distracted. Tang Zheng's storm-like attack had already arrived in front of him. Lin Hu hurriedly used his martial arts to resist. Bang! The powerful move made him fiercely hit the wall. Bang bang bang! After a few more moves, Tang Zheng's speed was too fast, and Lin Hu was tired of dealing with it. Finally, he could not hold on any longer, and fell into Tang Zheng's palms. Tang Zheng secretly breathed a sigh of relief. Luckily, this series of attacks was completed in one go, which was why he was able to achieve such results. In addition, although the opponent was a second-grade refining body, he did not practice any powerful martial arts, or else Tang Zheng would not have been able to win so easily. Tang Zheng's guess was not wrong. When Lin Hu was young, he was apprenticed to a master and could be considered to have stepped into the threshold of martial arts. But his master was not an expert, so he only roughly learned some superficial knowledge, and then relied on tens of years of battle experience to reach the second-grade refining body realm. It was more than enough to deal with an average person, but compared to Tang Zheng, he was slightly inferior. One must know, although the Heaven Luo hand that Tian Chanzi passed on to Tang Zheng was a beginner's martial arts, it was still a martial arts technique from 1,000 years ago at the peak of martial arts. After countless generations of refinement, the dregs were all removed, leaving behind only the essence. "Don't move!" Tang Zheng grabbed Lin Hu by the throat and roared. All of the lackeys were afraid of attacking the rat for fear of breaking the vases, and looked at him in panic. It was obvious that Tang Zheng was able to capture their boss under the eyes of so many people, causing them to be extremely shocked. Dong Zi walked out, angrily looking at him, and said, "Little brat, quickly release Brother Hu, otherwise I will cut you into 8 pieces." Tang Zheng coldly snorted, and said without the slightest fear, "Then you come and try. Let's see if your boss dies first, or if I die first." Lin Hu's face was ashen. This time he was really careless, falling into the hands of a young man in front of so many lackeys. "Little brother, what do you want?" Brother Hu asked in a deep voice. Chapter 12. Tang Zheng's original intention was to ruthlessly teach this group of people a lesson so that they would never dare to stir up trouble again. But in the end he found out that it was not them, which made him feel like there was a knife in his back. There were also people who wanted to harm him. It would not be easy for him to find this group of people by himself, but Brother Hu was a local tyrant, so he might have a way. Tang Zheng looked at Lin Hu and said, "You keep saying that this matter was not done by you, but how do I know if it is true or not, unless you take out evidence?" "How can we have evidence?" Dong Zi roared in dissatisfaction. Lin Hu's heart lit up as he stared at Dong Zi. "Shut up." Then he looked at Tang Zheng. "You want us to find those people?" Tang Zheng's mouth slightly raised. The boss was indeed smarter than the little brother. Yes, only by finding the real culprit can you wash off the suspicion. Lin Hu was also holding back his anger. There were actually people who stirred up trouble in his territory, and in the end he became the scapegoat. Preposterous, if this were to be spread out, people would laugh their heads off. He also wanted to find this group of bastards. No problem. Lin Hu agreed. Very good, but you want to deal with me, how do you want to settle this account? Tang Zheng's face sank as he coldly asked. What do you want, what? Tang Zheng already had a plan, he could not really do anything to this group of people, after all this was a society ruled by law, although he suddenly became strong, but the decades of law was deeply ingrained in him, so he could not kill these people. You swear that from now on you will not come to the junkyard to cause trouble? Tang Zheng firmly said. Lin Hu hesitated, before he did not attach importance to that site, but by chance there was an antique, so he wanted to pick up the scraps. What, you don't agree? Tang Zheng's face became cold. No, I agree. Lin Hu hurriedly said, giving up that site would not be a loss to him, after all the opportunity to pick up scraps was hard to come by, and the most important thing was to stabilize Tang Zheng. Very good. Tang Zheng let go of his hand. After Lin Hu regained his freedom, he subconsciously distanced himself from Tang Zheng. His henchmen were ready to rush forward. Stop! Lin Hu angrily glanced around. Everyone stopped and hesitantly looked at Brother Tiger. Tang Zheng coldly looked at Lin Hu. Lin Hu's expression was uncertain as he said, Don't worry, I will definitely give you an explanation for this matter. I still haven't asked for little brother's name. Tang Zheng frowned and asked coldly, What? Do you still want revenge? Lin Hu quickly waved his hand. You misunderstood. I definitely didn't mean that. I just wanted to make a friend. Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng smiled faintly and strode out of the bar. Brother Hu, are we really going to let this kid go just like that? Dong Zi came up and asked anxiously. Then what do you want? Lin Hu asked back with a heavy face. We have so many people. He is not our opponent. Dong Zi eagerly said. Idiot. Lin Hu rolled his eyes at him. His short confrontation with Tang Zheng made him deeply understand the terror of Tang Zheng's strength. Tang Zheng was also a martial artist. Lin Hu spent tens of years of hard work to reach the second-grade refining body. This young man was even more powerful than him. What did this mean? The other side had the guidance of a famous teacher and the support of an expert. To make an enemy out of such a person was to seek death. Lin Hu had worked hard to build his foundation. How could he make an enemy out of such a fierce person just because of a small mistake and cause his foundation to be destroyed? Remember, in the future when you see this person, you must be respectful. Treat it like you treat me. No, you must be more respectful than me. If he has any request, do your best to satisfy it. Do you understand? Lin Hu solemnly instructed. Although the lackeys did not understand, since it was the boss's orders, they did not dare to disobey. They all nodded in agreement. Also, go find those bastards for your father. Damn, they dare to cause trouble in your father's territory. They must have eaten a leopard's guts. Early in the morning, Tang Zheng sat in the classroom reading. The others whispered to each other and occasionally glanced at him. Too many things had happened in the past 2 days. Everyone could not help but develop a strong interest in him. Boss, you came so early. Feng Yongxing hurriedly walked over. Boss, I heard a rumor. Yesterday Takashi made a fool of himself and is very angry. I heard that he wants to take revenge on you. Tang Zheng's eyes flashed with a trace of sharpness and said, if he is stubborn, the one who will suffer in the end will be him. Right, how can he be boss's opponent? Boss, look, Takashi is here. Takashi walked in with a gloomy face and looked at Tang Zheng from afar. Seeing Tang Zheng looking at him, he quickly turned his head to avoid Tang Zheng's gaze. Although he was taller than Tang Zheng by a head, he was like a mouse seeing a cat. Takashi had already determined that Tang Zheng was a hidden expert. Yesterday, he found those hoodlums and knew what happened in the alley. He could not help but hate and fear Tang Zheng. This was the first Waterloo in his life. He became the laughingstock of the entire school. He must get back his face. He glanced at Tang Zheng and said in his heart, Tang Zheng, I'll let you be arrogant for a few more days. I will definitely get back everything that I lost. Boss, Takashi's eyes are not good. I don't know what he is thinking. Feng Yong suspiciously said. Tang Zheng waved his hand. His top priority was to cultivate. He did not have the mind to pay attention to Takashi. Suddenly, a beautiful figure appeared at the door, causing everyone's eyes to light up. Yi Dingdang is here. Yi Dingdang's face was cold as ice. Her feet carried the wind as she walked over. Pa! Tang Zheng's desk was slapped so hard that it jumped. Tang Zheng frowned. What are you doing? Humph, you still dare to ask me what I'm doing? You are too despicable and shameless. You actually posted those things on the forum and ruined my reputation. Yi Dingdang said in a low voice, flustered and exasperated. Tang Zheng's expression was awkward. Yi Dingdang was here to denounce him, so he hurriedly explained, that was actually a misunderstanding. Misunderstanding my ass. It was purely made up out of nothing. You look honest, but you are actually so dirty. Yi Dingdang's eyes were about to burst into flames. Especially after coming to school today and being pointed at and whispered by others, she was simply about to go crazy. Chasing after Tang Zheng. This was simply the biggest joke in the world. What did he have that was worthy of her liking? Calm down, this is really a misunderstanding. Tang Zheng continued to explain. Yi Dingdang wished she could eat him alive, but remembering his identity as a martial artist, she temporarily suppressed her impulse. Yesterday, she specifically asked her father and confirmed that only a prenatal martial artist could use the pressure point technique. Her father was only a 9th grade prenatal martial artist. If she rashly offended an expert like Tang Zheng, it would definitely do more harm than good to the family. Yi Dingdang's actions were impetuous, but her mind was not stupid. She would not add another strong enemy to the family, but she really could not swallow this anger. Sister Dingdang, you really misunderstood the boss. That post was posted by me. Feng Yong gathered his courage and said. Yi Dingdang was suddenly startled. You posted it? Yes. Feng Yong nodded, he was already prepared to welcome the storm. Fatty Feng, I'll kill you. Yi Dingdang swung her hand towards him. Pa! Yi Dingdang's hand stopped in midair, firmly held by Tang Zheng, unable to move. Shua! Everyone's eyes focused on this scene, unable to take their eyes off of it. Tang Zheng actually held her hand, this was a good show to watch. It was said that there was once a person who pursued Yi Dingdang and took the opportunity to hold her small hand, but in the blink of an eye, he was beaten into a pig's head. Everyone speculated that Tang Zheng would definitely become a pig's head soon. Let go. Yi Dingdang angrily glared. Tang Zheng turned a deaf ear, as if he was in a daze. Suddenly, Yi Dingdang was furious, she couldn't wait to kick him to the ground. What a strong purine energy, kid, don't waste it, hurry up and absorb it. Hey, it's really strange, you can absorb so much purine energy after holding hands. Tian Chanzi's voice sounded in Tang Zheng's mind. Tang Zheng was also shocked. Before he absorbed purine energy, he didn't feel much, but this time, he clearly felt a cool flow from his palm to his 8 extraordinary meridians. This is purine energy. Tang Zheng knew that he had to absorb as much purine energy as possible, otherwise he would explode and die when he was 20 years old, but he never thought that holding hands would have such a big effect. Bastard, let go. Yi Dingdang tried to pull back, but couldn't break free, she couldn't help but roar in a low voice. Tang Zheng came back to his senses, but didn't immediately let go. He said, if you promise not to fight and talk nicely, I'll let go. Yi Dingdang hesitated for a moment, but could only nod. Tang Zheng reluctantly let go, but the cool and purine energy had already been completely stored in his 9 main meridians, causing his true qi to increase by a bit. Kid, you should find a reason to hold hands a little longer, it's too wasteful. Oh right, I have a suggestion. If you catch this girl, you can openly hold hands with her at any time. That way, your life will be guaranteed. Heaven Monk said. Tang Zheng didn't know whether to laugh or cry. Was Yi Dingdang so easy to chase? Looking at those suitors, one after another, he knew the answer. The others were waiting to see Tang Zheng get beaten up, but nothing happened. Suddenly, everyone looked at Tang Zheng with a complicated gaze. Could it be that Yi Dingdang really liked him, otherwise how could she be so different? Sister Dingdang, calm down, I know you like to keep a low profile and don't like to be exposed, but I'm telling the truth. Moreover, this matter has already happened, you can't blame the boss, in fact, this is also good, with the boss protecting you, no one else will bother you. Feng Yong said. Tang Zheng glared at Feng Yong, was it not chaotic enough? The speaker didn't mean it, but the listener took it seriously. Yi Dingdang's eyes turned, and a little thought came up, although she looked cold, she still had many suitors, which annoyed her to no end. Feng Yong's suggestion was a good choice, with a powerful person like Tang Zheng as a shield, those suitors would no longer bother her. But wouldn't this be letting this bastard off easy? She was very unwilling. No, I won't admit it, nor will I deny it, let him attract the fire. Thinking of this, the corner of her mouth rose into a beautiful arc, which made people stunned. Tang Zheng's heart skipped a beat, her smile was too lethal. The ancient saying that when looking back, 100 charms will appear, it was probably referring to Yi Dingdang's smile, the others' breathing obviously quickened. Chapter 13. Lu Qingmei stood at the door of the classroom and clearly saw the scene of Tang Zheng holding Yi Dingdang's hand. Finally, she completely believed the comments on the forum. Tang Zheng, come out for a second. She directly shouted. Tang Zheng walked over, teacher, what's the matter? Let's talk in the office. Lu Qingmei walked in front, her graceful body swaying. Her skirt wrapped around her buttocks were especially perky, and her beautiful legs under her black stockings were even more tempting. Tang Zheng couldn't help but take a few more glances and swallowed his saliva. Kid, your teacher's figure is really good. Tian Chanzi said. Please, you're a cultivator, not a pervert. Tang Zheng said in a bad mood. Cultivators are also human, not otherworldly. Moreover, food and sex are part of human nature. If cultivators don't have human nature, then they won't be able to cultivate to the top. Tian Chanzi said righteously. Tang Zheng was speechless and simply ignored him. Walking into the office, many people's gazes were attracted, not because of him, but because of Lu Qingmei. She was like a crane in a flock of chickens among the teachers. She was really too beautiful. Many male teachers were secretly looking at her, and the female teachers couldn't hide their jealousy. Tang Zheng, what are you doing in the office? Wu Zuihong's cold voice suddenly sounded, and everyone's attention was focused on Tang Zheng. The teachers were very familiar with this former genius. He was once the focus of everyone's discussion, but now he has fallen from the altar and has completely lost his luster. Tang Zheng glanced at the old witch Wu Zuihong and didn't answer her question. Teacher Wu, I called student Tang Zheng here. Lu Qingmei said slowly. Wu Zuihong was the director of the third-year group. She had a high position and power, and she already disliked the young and beautiful Lu Qingmei, because her limelight was completely stolen by Lu Qingmei. What did you call him here for? Did you cause trouble again? Wu Zuihong asked in annoyance. Lu Qingmei didn't answer. She waved to Tang Zheng and said, sit. Tang Zheng ignored Wu Zuihong and went straight to sit opposite Lu Qingmei. Wu Zuihong saw that she was ignored by Tang Zheng and was furious. Look at his attitude. I was his former head teacher. He didn't even greet me when he saw me. That's right. Does he think he's still the #1 in the city? This is too outrageous. He doesn't know how to respect his teacher at all. Someone echoed. Tang Zheng frowned and was about to refute when Lu Qingmei stood up and looked at Wu Cuihong. She said, Tang Zheng is now my student. If there is anything, I will deal with it. I don't need others to tell me what to do. Wu Cuihong's face immediately turned red. Unable to restrain her anger, she said, Teacher Lu, what is the meaning of this? Nothing. I'm just speaking the truth. Lu Qingmei said coldly. Speaking the truth. I think it's more like nonsense. What are you trying to do by protecting a poor student who is dragging us down? Don't you know that he is already the shame of our school? Wu Cuihong angrily roared. Shame? I didn't think so. But some people are shouting and yelling. It is indeed a shame. Lu Qingmei calmly retorted. What do you mean? Wu Cuihong angrily said. If you don't understand, then I don't have the obligation to explain. Wu Cuihong said, birds of a feather flock together. This kind of person continuing to stay in the school is a waste of teaching resources. Just like some classes, he can only drag us down and bring shame to the school. These words were an undisguised provocation. Everyone understood that the class Wu Cuihong was talking about was the Hell class, Class 7. Lu Qingmei, as the head teacher of Class 7, naturally couldn't allow the other to slander them. She angrily said, Teacher Wu, is this something a teacher should say? Teacher Lu, you're talking to her about being a teacher. Aren't you making things difficult for her? She doesn't have any quality in this area. The silent Tang Zheng finally opened his mouth. His words were shocking, causing everyone to be dumbstruck. Lu Qingmei was slightly startled. She didn't think that Tang Zheng would speak up for her. Moreover, his words were so fierce. The corner of her mouth couldn't help but curve up into a faint smile. Wu Cuihong flew into a rage and angrily roared, Tang Zheng, what did you say? What did I say? Did you not hear it? Tang Zheng lightly asked. He had always been brooding about her. Moreover, she really didn't have the quality of a teacher. He was only speaking the truth. Go against the heavens, you actually dare to speak such arrogant words to insult me, you. In Wu Cuihong's mind, Tang Zheng had always been an honest person, but today he actually made her unable to leave the stage. She felt flabbergasted and angry at the same time. Seeing the other teachers staring at the scene, she was so angry that she wanted to vomit blood. Go against the heavens, today I will teach you a lesson. Saying this, she threw herself at Tang Zheng like a shrew. Tang Zheng slid backwards to avoid this attack and coldly said, You are a teacher yet you attack a student for no reason. I just want to hit you. You shameless bastard. Wu Cuihong hooted. Tang Zheng was furious. These words pierced his heart. If he wanted to knock her down, it would be as easy as flipping his hand. However, with so many people looking at him, he would be exposed and could very well be expelled. Although Wu Cuihong was extremely angry on the surface, she already had a plan in her heart. If she hit Tang Zheng, then it would be to establish her prestige. If Tang Zheng resisted, then it would be exactly what she wanted. She would then charge him with assaulting a teacher and expel him. In short, no matter how Tang Zheng reacted, Wu Cuihong believed that she was in an invincible position. What are you doing? Lu Qingmei stood in front of Tang Zheng, not yielding an inch as she confronted Wu Cuihong. Move aside. I am teaching a student a lesson. What does that have to do with you? Tang Zheng is my student. Not just anyone can teach him a lesson. Lu Qingmei's face was cold as she argued. Tang Zheng, don't even think about dodging. Wu Cuihong ruthlessly sent a slap over. This slap wasn't aimed at Tang Zheng, but directly at Lu Qingmei's face. Wu Cuihong's heart was vicious. She wanted to use this opportunity to slap Lu Qingmei and make her lose all face. This would relieve the hatred in her heart. Wu Cuihong's attack was fast and ruthless. The other teachers had no way to block it. Lu Qingmei was caught off guard and also had no way to dodge. Seeing that Lu Qingmei was about to be slapped, Tang Zheng couldn't just sit and watch. He casually grabbed a piece of chalk on the table and flicked it out like lightning. Pa! A loud slap rang out, causing people to feel a sharp pain in their teeth. This slap was really too ruthless. Many male teachers couldn't help but feel pain in their hearts. They wished that this slap had landed on their own faces instead of the delicate face of Lu Qingmei. After all, such a beautiful face was meant to be cherished. Suddenly, everyone was stunned. It was as if they had seen the most inconceivable magic. Lu Qingmei's face was as good as new, but half of Wu Zuihong's face was red and swollen. Wu Zuihong had slapped her own face. Everyone suddenly remembered the scene they had just seen. When her palm was about to hit Lu Qingmei, her arm suddenly bent and fiercely slapped Wu Zuihong's own face. Was Wu Zuihong crazy? Wu Zuihong was stunned. She looked at her own hand in a daze. The burning pain on her face made her constantly suck in cold air. Damn it, what happened just now? Why did she hit herself? Lu Qingmei was confused. She couldn't understand. She thought that Wu Zuihong must have gone crazy. It was better to keep a distance from a crazy person. She didn't hesitate to grab Tang Zheng's hand and quickly retreated. She said, "Tang Zheng, let's go." The two of them ignored the dumbfounded crowd in the office and walked out of the office in large strides. They came to the field. Lu Qingmei's hand was soft as if it had no bones. It was smooth and delicate like the highest quality jade. It was so beautiful that it shook people's soul. But Tang Zheng wasn't in the mood to appreciate this beauty, because a steady stream of pure yin energy was flowing from his palm to his whole body. "Ha, boy, you've hit the jackpot. Your teacher actually has a mysterious yin body. Moreover, she's still a virgin. She has accumulated more than 20 years of pure yin energy. It's simply top grade. It's even more pure yin energy than those two girls." Tian Chanzi shouted excitedly. Tang Zheng also had a profound feeling. This pure yin energy was much stronger than Fang Shishir's and Yidingdang's. His Jin Qi was stimulated by the pure yin energy and was constantly rising. "Boy, you must pursue your teacher. Not only can you increase your cultivation, but you can also save your life. It's like killing two birds with one stone," Tian Chanzi urged. Tang Zheng glanced at Lu Qingmei. Her beautiful appearance was enough to make any man's heart beat faster. Tang Zheng was no exception. Lu Qingmei let out a long breath. A faint fragrance entered Tang Zheng's nose. Tang Zheng's heart moved. Could this be the fragrance of a virgin? It was intoxicating. Lu Qingmei gently patted her chest. Her trembling peaks were about to burst out. She coldly said, "You really are an unreasonable madman." She suddenly discovered that there was no sound beside her. She turned her head in surprise and saw Tang Zheng looking at her in a daze. "What are you looking at?" Her face instantly sank. "I'm looking at you, teacher." Tang Zheng subconsciously blurted out. Lu Qingmei was slightly startled. She didn't think that Tang Zheng would be so bold and direct. She couldn't help but glare at him and said, "Be careful or I'll dig your eyes out." Tang Zheng was greatly embarrassed. He realized that he was too abrupt and hurriedly explained, "Teacher, I didn't mean it that way." Seeing his anxious appearance, Lu Qingmei thought that he was still a big boy. He wasn't as thick-skinned as other men. "Don't tell me you still want to hold my hand?" Seeing him tightly holding her hand, she mischievously asked. Tang Zheng reluctantly let go of her hand and said, "Teacher, thank you for just now. I am your teacher. Of course I have the responsibility and obligation to protect you. It's just that Teacher Wu is too unreasonable. She actually hit me. She doesn't deserve to be a teacher." Tang Zheng indignantly said. "You have a conflict with her. In the future, you should avoid contact with her as much as possible. You are a student. After all, you are in a disadvantageous position. Lu Qingmei warned. Tang Zheng was indescribably moved. If all the teachers in the world were like Lu Qingmei, then there would be fewer conflicts between teachers and students. Chapter 14. Lu Qingmei looked at Tang Zheng and solemnly said, Tang Zheng, I heard that you had a conflict with someone at the school gate yesterday. You will be taking the high school exam soon, so you need to focus on your studies. Even if you have any conflicts, you need to wait until after graduation. If others look down on you, you should use the high school exam to prove yourself. Do you understand? Tang Zheng was suddenly startled as he thought that she would criticize him. He never thought that she would be so considerate towards him. Under her ice-cold appearance, there was a fiery heart. Teacher, I will do my best in the exam. Please rest assured. Lu Qingmei nodded her head in satisfaction. Although many unfortunate things have happened to you, you cannot give up. Only with hard work will there be hope. If those people come to find trouble with you, tell me, and I will go and reason with them. My students will not be bullied by outsiders. Tang Zheng stared at her in a daze. Her ice-cold face was filled with determination and confidence. His heart felt warm as he said, Teacher, during the high school exam, I will definitely bring honor to our class. Seeing his confident expression, Lu Qingmei was a bit absent-minded, as if what he said was true. She blurted out, I believe you. Go back to class. If there is anything, you can come find me. Tang Zheng returned to the classroom. Yi Dingdang glanced at him and asked, What did the teacher call you to do? Proportion, nothing. Heng, if you don't want to say, then forget it. Yi Dingdang rolled her eyes at him. She had already thought it through. Feng Yang's suggestion was not bad. Temporarily using Tang Zheng to block off those annoying flies, so she could not speak ill of Tang Zheng. Moreover, she was also very interested in Tang Zheng. How could his cultivation be higher than hers? This was too inconceivable. It must be known that the poor studied while the rich studied martial arts. The expenses of a martial arts practitioner were not small. They needed all kinds of medicine to train their body. How could Tang Zheng's family support this kind of consumption? In addition, martial arts practitioners needed the guidance of a master, or else they would be like a headless fly. Just who was his master? There must be a secret on him. I must dig it out. Yi Dingdang was determined. Tang Zheng studied while absorbing Yi Dingdang's purine energy. Half a day passed quickly. Today was Sunday. There were only half a day of classes and the afternoon was off. Tang Zheng left the school with his school bag and got on a bus. Yi Dingdang looked at him in surprise. Didn't he always run home? Did the sun rise from the west today? He actually changed to take the bus. Yi Dingdang stopped a car and chased after him. There must be something wrong. He must have gone to do some shady business. Do you think you can escape from my discerning eyes? Tang Zheng took 3 buses and finally arrived at the foot of Ordinary Balance Mountain. Looking at the towering mountain, he took a deep breath. Today, he came for the heaven-fragrant flower. This was the most important step in refining the life-continuing pill. The heaven-fragrant flower grew on the cliffs, and the Ordinary Balance Mountain was one of the most suitable places. Tang Zheng did not know whether the heaven-fragrant flower was on the mountain or not. Therefore, he could only check it out first. If it was not, he could only think of other ways. God bless me. I must find the heaven-fragrant flower. Tang Zheng said in a low voice. Brat, stop praying. 1,000 years ago, the heaven-fragrant flower was rare. Now that the spirit qi is thin, I cannot guarantee that the heaven-fragrant flower is on this mountain. Tian Chanzi said. Tang Zheng did not say anything and started to climb the mountain. The front of Ordinary Balance Mountain was a tourist attraction. Along the way, he met many tourists. His goal was the back of the mountain. The terrain of the back of the mountain was dangerous. There was also a cliff that was thousands of meters high. Because it was too dangerous, it was not open to the public. Tang Zheng jumped over the fence and entered the boundary of the back of the mountain. Yi Dingdang appeared in front of the fence. She looked at the direction where Tang Zheng disappeared. What is he doing in the back of the mountain? Humph, don't think of escaping from my sight. She jumped over the fence and chased after him. Whoosh! A ghostly figure appeared in front of the fence and chased after him like a gust of wind. The back of the mountain was bumpy and deserted. Tang Zheng carefully advanced. It was said that there were poisonous snakes and fierce beasts roaming around the back of the mountain. He could not be careless. Soon, he arrived at the edge of the cliff. Looking down, he could not see the end. It made him dizzy. Brat, the heaven-fragrant flower only grows in the cracks of the cliff. The flower is very small, fiery red, and very beautiful. Tian Chanzi introduced. Tang Zheng leaned in front of the cliff. All he could see was the bare cliff. Only a few strands of grass swayed in the wind. He did not give up. He searched along the cliff bit by bit. Yi Dingdang hid in the woods and looked at Tang Zheng curiously. She wondered what he was looking for. However, she did not dare to rush over. She could only watch from afar. Whoosh! A piercing sound came from behind her head, causing Yi Dingdang to be shocked. She immediately turned around only to find a cold, glinting sharp sword heading straight for her brain. She had goosebumps all over her body. She hurriedly ducked to avoid it. However, the sword moved very quickly. Poochie! The tip of the sword pierced her shoulder and blood splashed. She let out a blood-curdling scream and quickly retreated. Only then did she avoid being pierced by the sword. However, she had already clearly seen the person who had come. It was an ordinary-looking middle-aged man. His face was silent, but his eyes were filled with killing intent. Who is he? Why does he want to kill me? A question surfaced in Yi Dingdang's mind, but the opponent clearly did not give her much time to think. Like a shadow, he once again attacked. One retreated while the other advanced. In the blink of an eye, the two of them arrived at the empty area in front of the cliff. Tang Zheng suddenly turned around. He was shocked when he saw the two of them. The killer had already closed in on Yi Dingdang. Yi Dingdang retreated to the edge of the cliff. Who are you? Why do you want to kill me? Yi Dingdang loudly asked. You are Yi Dingdang. Naturally, you will die. The killer said. Yi Dingdang coldly snorted and said, killing me is not that easy. She reached out to grab the killer's wrist. You are only a 4th grade refining body. Do you think you are a match for me who is a 6th grade refining body? The killer jokingly said. With a flick of his wrist, his sword fell like rain. He completely blocked Yi Dingdang's attack. If you kill me, the Ye family will not let you off. The killer confidently smiled and said, if you die, who will know that I did it? Obediently accept your death and I will give you a quick death. But to die so beautifully, it really is a pity. In your dreams. The Ye family only fight to the death. There are no cowards who surrender. Yi Dingdang's words were powerful. She turned her head and glanced at Tang Zheng. Then she jumped and launched an attack. Stubborn and unrepentant, you are seeking death. The killer's face turned cold. He raised his sword and stabbed out. The difference in strength between the two was too great. Moreover, the killer had a long sword in his hand. Yi Dingdang was not his opponent. Not long later, she was surrounded by danger. Seeing Yi Dingdang retreating step by step and was about to fall off the cliff, Tang Zheng knew that he could not sit idly by. No matter what, they were still classmates. How could he not save her? But the killer was a 6th grade refining body cultivator. Unless he used the pressure point technique to suppress him, he would be in danger. Tang Zheng did not shout. Instead, he attacked the killer from behind like a ghost. The sword was like snow. Yi Dingdang was completely covered in the sword light. She was almost unable to breathe. She was in despair. Could it be that she was going to die here today? Suddenly, her eyes lit up. She saw Tang Zheng behind the killer. She could not help but feel a glimmer of hope. The killer's heart felt a sense of danger. This was a keen sense that had been cultivated from walking on the edge of a blade for many years. Shua! The killer instinctively turned his sword around and stabbed behind him. Tang Zheng originally thought that he was going to succeed. But he did not expect that the opponent's reaction would be so fast. He jumped back and all his efforts were for naught. Who are you? The killer suddenly turned around and stared at Tang Zheng. Tang Zheng asked, and who are you? Meddling in other people's business will only bring about your own destruction. The assassin coldly said, but in his heart he was shocked. Previously, he thought that Tang Zheng was an ordinary person, but from his silent sneak attack just now, he could tell that the other was definitely not a mediocre person. However, he could not see through the other's cultivation, so there was only one possibility, and that was that the other's cultivation was higher than his. The killer was overwhelmed with shock. What kind of background did the opponent have? How could he have such a high cultivation? The killer did not know that he had made a mistake. Tang Zheng was a cultivator and not a martial artist. A normal martial artist would not be able to see through a cultivator's cultivation. Yi Dingdang's eyes lit up. She looked at Tang Zheng. She thought that this bastard still had some conscience. He did not leave her in the lurch. Tang Zheng, let's join hands and capture him. Yi Dingdang loudly said. She believed that Tang Zheng was a prenatal realm martial artist and that capturing the killer was more than enough. Tang Zheng bitterly smiled. If only it was as easy as you said. Then he would not have to sneak attack. But he did not show any fear. He sternly said, okay. One from the front and one from the back attacked. Their attacks were as fast as wind and thunder. The killer roared and his sword flashed. He did not know the exact strength of Tang Zheng and was rather afraid. He did not attack with great fanfare and instead adopted a defensive posture. Tang Zheng's heaven-gathering hand covered the sky and earth. However, the killer's defense was also watertight. Even under the pincer attack of the two, he did not fall into a disadvantageous position. It must be known that besides the pressure point technique, Tang Zheng's cultivation was much lower than the killer's. This was a chasm that was difficult to cross. As the battle grew more intense, the assassin's eyes grew brighter and brighter. Suddenly, he laughed out loud, "Ha, kid, you're actually bluffing. Although I don't know what method you used to hide your cultivation, I dare say that your cultivation is definitely not as high as mine. You dare to play tricks on me. Die." Chapter 15. The long sword pierced forward like a bolt of lightning, as graceful as a swan. Tang Zheng did not retreat but instead advanced, using the heaven-gathering hand to protect his life gate, blocking the sharp sword. "Stop!" Yi Dingdang loudly shouted, her face becoming deathly pale. She already understood that Tang Zheng was not the assassin's match, which meant that his martial arts had not reached the prenatal realm. He knew that he was not the assassin's match, but he still acted righteously without hesitation. Yi Dingdang felt a burst of warmth in her heart. "Tang Zheng, hurry up and leave, this is not your fault, I will hold him back." She quickly dodged, attacking the assassin's back. Tang Zheng bitterly smiled, at this juncture, even if I am not the assassin's target, how can the assassin let me go? The two of them were already grasshoppers on the same rope, one's glory, one's loss, the other's loss. Tang Zheng did not retreat, using the heaven-gathering hand to attack, attacking from the front and back. The assassin was not the slightest bit afraid, opening and closing with a certain degree of tension. "Brat, you have to let that little girl attract his attention, only then will you have the opportunity to use your pressure point technique," Tian Chanzi anxiously said. Tang Zheng was well aware, but in this situation, it was too dangerous to let Yi Dingdang attract all the firepower by herself. In just a few moves, Yi Dingdang would be defeated. The assassin would not show any mercy. The assassin pushed Yi Dingdang step by step, forcing her to the edge of the cliff. If she took another step back, her body would be smashed to pieces. There's no chance. Tang Zheng inwardly shouted, dashing forward without a care for his own safety. The assassin was stunned for a moment. He did not expect that Tang Zheng would suddenly attack, but Yi Dingdang was already at the edge of the cliff. He was not willing to let go of this rare opportunity, his long sword piercing towards her. Yi Dingdang hurriedly dodged backwards. She missed a step and fell off the cliff. She screamed. Tang Zheng's eyes widened as he shouted for the assassin to be careful. He had already arrived in front of the assassin, but the assassin stabbed him with his sword. Pooh! Blood splattered from Tang Zheng's shoulder as his flesh was torn open. However, he still made his move without hesitation, his fingers gently brushing the assassin's body. The momentum of the sword came to an abrupt halt. Tang Zheng had sealed the assassin's acupoint. The assassin's eyes immediately revealed a look of disbelief, which quickly turned into horror. Tang Zheng brushed past him and rushed toward the cliff without hesitation. Grab my hand. Yi Dingdang hurriedly stretched out her hands, tightly grasping each other's hands. Tang Zheng's other hand grabbed onto a rock protruding from the edge of the cliff. Yi Dingdang's screams came to an abrupt end. She was still in shock as she seemed to have seen herself fall to pieces. Tang Zheng's hand was like a life-saving straw that pulled her back from the god of death. She raised her head and foolishly looked at him with a complicated gaze. Don't be afraid, I'll save you. Tang Zheng suddenly used his strength and pulled her up. The mountain wind whistled as Yi Dingdang stood at the edge of the cliff. Her face was pale and her legs were weak. If it wasn't for Tang Zheng saving her, she would have died. Thank you. She stared at him and sincerely said. Tang Zheng stared at her and asked, were you following me? Yi Dingdang subconsciously lowered her head and weakly denied, who said I was following you? I only came up the mountain to look at the scenery. Besides, why did you come to ordinary Balance Mountain? Tang Zheng coldly laughed. He had secrets on him that he did not want others to find out. Yi Dingdang's actions of following him made him very disgusted. Me coming to ordinary Balance Mountain has nothing to do with you. Yi Dingdang rolled her eyes, then I also have nothing to do with you. Tang Zheng did not want to waste words with her. He looked at the assassin and said, you should worry about him. Why does he want to kill you? How would I know? Yi Dingdang had a stomach full of anger. This assassin must have planned this for a long time. Just who was it that wanted to kill her? Who sent you? Yi Dingdang walked over and snatched the assassin's sword and placed it against his neck. The assassin did not speak. He only looked at Tang Zheng with a complicated expression and said, you are clearly not a prenatal martial artist. How can you know the pressure point technique? You do not have the qualifications to know. Tang Zheng coldly swept his eyes over him. Yi Dingdang also stared at Tang Zheng with wide eyes. She also had the same question. But if Tang Zheng did not say anything, she could not do anything. Moreover, now was not the time to be entangled with this question. But when she saw the wound and blood on Tang Zheng's shoulder, she quickly said, you're injured? Tang Zheng lowered his head to look. His nerves were tense before so it did not hurt. Now that the stinging pain attacked him, he clenched his teeth. He glanced at Yi Dingdang and said, aren't you also injured? Ah, it hurts like hell. Yi Dingdang finally felt the pain and jumped up with a shout. She was just like a kangaroo jumping around, making her look extremely comical. Tang Zheng could not help but laugh. Yi Dingdang's charming face turned red. She fiercely said, you're not allowed to laugh. What does my laughter have to do with you? Humph, if I say you're not allowed to laugh then you're not allowed to laugh. Stop messing around. Tang Zheng sternly reprimanded, my pressure point technique can only last for 5 minutes. He will be able to move again soon. Yi Dingdang turned pale with fright. She immediately placed her sword against the assassin's neck. You're not allowed to move. My sword does not have eyes. At this time, the pressure point technique lost its effect. The assassin regained his freedom but was powerless. He fiercely stared at Yi Dingdang and said, "Do you dare to kill me? I bet you don't even dare to kill a chicken." As he said this, he actually walked towards Yi Dingdang. Yi Dingdang turned pale with fright. Although she was a 4th-grade refining body martial artist, she had never even killed a chicken before, let alone a person. When the assassin moved, she subconsciously retreated. Tang Zheng cursed. He bravely stepped forward and seized the sword. The sword's edge intimately touched the assassin's neck. "She doesn't dare to kill you. Why don't you try and see if I dare to kill you?" Tang Zheng's killing intent soared. This time, he finally had the time to look for the heaven-fragrant flower but was disturbed by the assassin. This delayed the treatment of his grandfather. How could he not be angry? The assassin's gaze changed as he looked at Tang Zheng. This person gave him too many shocks and he could not see through him. Moreover, Tang Zheng's aura was clearly stronger than Yi Dingdang's. This made the assassin not dare to lower his guard. "Heng, you're also a little brat. Do you really dare to kill me?" The assassin provoked. "Little brat, he's deliberately stalling for time. He's looking for an opening in your escape. You must not let him succeed," Tian Chanzi reminded. "Relax, I understand." Tang Zheng did not speak any nonsense. He raised his hand and the sword fell. A wound appeared on the assassin's neck and fresh blood flowed out. Yi Dingdang screamed in fright. She looked at Tang Zheng as if he was an alien. That decisive aura of killing deeply shocked her. Tang Zheng was not a bloodthirsty person. It was just that he had been accumulating a lot of anger for the past few months. In addition, he had a resolute side to him. That was why he was so decisive. The assassin did not dare to move. This little brat was not like that little girl. If he provoked him, he would be the one to suffer. "Yi Dingdang, hurry up and call your family," Tang Zheng ordered. He guessed that the Ye family's power was definitely not ordinary. He had suffered an undeserved calamity in this matter. He still needed the Ye family's help to deal with the aftermath. Yi Dingdang felt as if she had woken up from a dream. She immediately contacted her family. From the phone, one could vaguely hear that the other side of the phone was very angry. "My family will be here in a while." Tang Zheng nodded. To be honest, he really wanted to leave. Time was too precious for him. He still had to find the heaven-fragrant flower. But if he left, Yi Dingdang would not be able to control the assassin. The assassin's eyes wandered. He was looking for a way to escape. But when he saw Tang Zheng's resolute eyes, he gave up. Half an hour later, the roar of a helicopter came from afar. Soon, it was hovering overhead. The airflow stirred by the propellers was so strong that Tang Zheng subconsciously squinted his eyes. The assassin's eyes lit up. He took the opportunity to dodge. He left the sword and quickly fled into the woods. Tang Zheng was shocked. This assassin was too cunning. He shouted, "Stop!" The assassin's speed was faster than his. In the blink of an eye, he had crossed more than 10 meters. It was too late for Tang Zheng to catch up. "Where do you think you're going?" Suddenly, a thunderous roar resounded in the air, causing Tang Zheng's eardrums to hurt. He subconsciously raised his head to look, only to see a tall figure jump down from the helicopter. The height of more than 10 meters was like flat ground beneath his feet, as if he was a god descending from the heavens. The assassin looked back and ran even faster. But that person was even faster than him. In a flash, he landed heavily on the ground. The ground seemed to shake, and a large amount of dust flew up. The assassin roared, "Get out of the way!" He moved like lightning. But that person did not move. He was like a boulder blocking his path. Bang! One punch, a simple punch. Fast, too fast. Tang Zheng felt a blur in front of his eyes. That fist flew out and the assassin flew out like a kite with a broken string. Before he landed, that person had already reached the place where the assassin landed. 5 fingers stretched out and firmly grabbed the assassin. One move to win. This person's strength was too strong. He was like a fierce tiger. No, he was even stronger than a fierce tiger. Even if Tang Zheng had the pressure point technique, he was definitely not his opponent. Only a 9th grade natal stage cultivator. Tian Chanzi said disdainfully. 9th grade natal stage cultivator, only. Tang Zheng swallowed his saliva with difficulty. He was already unable to communicate with Tian Chanzi normally. Brat, don't be so shocked. If it was before, he wouldn't even be fit to carry my shoes. Tian Chanzi said arrogantly. A real man doesn't talk about his past achievements. Do you know that? Right now, you are just a strand of divine sense. Tian Chanzi was shocked. He did not speak. The helicopter landed and several black-clothed people hurriedly got off. They surrounded that person as if they were facing a great enemy. They vigilantly looked around. Dad, you're finally here. Yi Dingdang ran towards that person and threw herself into his arms. This person had thick eyebrows and big eyes. He was tall, but not fierce. He looked like a typical middle-aged uncle. When he was young, he must have been a handsome young master. Dingdang, you're injured. He looked at the wound on his daughter's shoulder. His face became increasingly gloomy. I'm fine. Yi Dingdang had already adapted to the pain. She forced out a smile. What the hell is going on? This person wanted to kill me. Fortunately, your daughter was powerful. With the help of classmate Tang Zheng, we were able to capture him. Yi Dingdang said casually. Tang Zheng. His pupils constricted as he subconsciously looked towards Tang Zheng. His gaze was like lightning as it landed on Tang Zheng, causing him to involuntarily feel a sense of oppression. Tang Zheng was disgusted. From the other's gaze, he could see too many profound things. Since Yi Dingdang was already safe, then there was no need for him to continue to stay here. Thus, he said, Yi Dingdang, I'll be leaving first. He then walked down the mountain in large strides. Chapter 16. Tang Zheng was stopped by the men in black. Several of them had their hands on their waists and were glaring at him like a tiger watching its prey. What do you mean? Tang Zheng angrily asked. The other party had weapons on them. Yi Dingdang was shocked and hurriedly explained, Dad, this is my classmate. He was the one who saved me. Yi Tianlei walked over. His sharp eyes were filled with surprise. This person looked like an ordinary person. There was no inner strength flowing around him, but his aura was clearly not that of an ordinary person. What was his identity? Was he related to this assassination? He temporarily suppressed his doubts and calmly said, Classmate Tang Zheng, hello, I am Yi Dingdang's father, Yi Tianlei. Hello. Tang Zheng suppressed his anger and nodded in greeting, if there's nothing else, I'll be leaving first. You saved Dingdang and were injured. How can you just leave like this? Wouldn't it seem like we are lacking in etiquette? Why don't you come back with me to treat your injuries first and then you can leave? Yi Tianlei unquestionably said. He suspected Tang Zheng, so naturally he would not let him leave so easily. Yi Dingdang looked at his injuries and knew that his family was poor. The treatment would definitely cost money. This time he was injured because of her, so how could she let him spend money? She also advised, that's right, Tang Zheng, you come back with me to treat your injuries. Tang Zheng really wanted to leave, but this wound was not very serious, but it was not easy either. If he did not take care of it, it would arouse his grandfather's suspicion and make him worry for nothing. Thus, he was forced to agree. The helicopter spiraled into the air and roared away. Tang Zheng's emotions fluctuated. The Ye family's formation was so big. It seemed that it was more powerful than he thought. Nowadays, it was not rare to have a sports car, but to have a helicopter was definitely not a normal nouveau riche. The helicopter stopped in front of a villa, and a group of people quickly came up to greet them. Walking at the front was a graceful and elegant beautiful woman. Her appearance was somewhat similar to Yi Dingdang's. Tang Zheng guessed that she must be Yi Dingdang's mother. "Ding Dang, are you alright? You scared me to death." The woman hugged Yi Dingdang in her arms and was pleasantly surprised. "Feng Xinyang, I'm fine." Yi Dingdang glanced at Tang Zheng and said embarrassedly, "I'm an adult. Others will laugh at me like this. What a joke. Whoever dares to laugh at you, I'll break their legs." Feng Xinyang swept her eyebrows and coldly said. Tang Zheng felt a chill run down his spine. Like mother, like daughter. This family was full of violent maniacs. No wonder Yi Dingdang had such a fiery temper. Moreover, Yi Dingdang had called her by her name. It was really strange. "Aya, my daughter, you're injured. Doctor, come quickly." Suddenly, Feng Xinyang saw the wound on Yi Dingdang's body and made a big fuss. Several doctors in white coats immediately ran over. "Quickly take her to the infirmary for examination and treatment," Feng Xinyang said in alarm. "I'm fine. The blood has already stopped." "What do you mean you're fine? You lost so much blood. Do you really think that women are not afraid of bleeding?" "Humph, which bastard dared to hurt my, Feng Xinyang's, daughter? He must be tired of living." Feng Xinyang's face was ashen as she shouted. Yi Dingdang rolled her eyes and was escorted to the infirmary. Suddenly, she stopped and waved to Tang Zheng. "Tang Zheng, come with me to treat the wound." The two people went to the infirmary together. Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang looked at the two people's distant figures thoughtfully. Feng Xinyang frowned and asked, "Tianlei, what is going on?" Yi Tianlei muttered, "I'm not clear about the details. However, the killer has been caught. I will personally interrogate him later." "Who is that Tang Zheng?" Feng Xinyang asked. "Classmate Dingdang. However, this person is very suspicious." Feng Xinyang rolled her eyes and said, "You like to be suspicious all day long. I think this young man is quite good. Who knows, he might be one of Dingdang's admirers. Hee, Dingdang is most like me in this aspect. She is naturally beautiful and has charmed countless people." Yi Tianlei's head was covered in cold sweat as he said, "How old are you? You're still so shameless." Feng Xinyang's almond eyes widened as she said, "Are you saying that I'm old? You have no conscience. In the past, so many people pursued me and I chose you. You actually despised me. I want our daughter to be the judge." Woo. She was about to cry. If Tang Zheng saw this, he would definitely be shocked. This sudden change in mood was too fast. The others had long since gotten used to it. They lowered their heads and acted as if nothing had happened. Yi Tianlei was very clear about his wife's temper and hurriedly comforted her. "All right, that's not what I meant. Let's interrogate the killer first." Feng Xinyang's crying stopped abruptly as she stared at the killer. With a simple glance, the killer felt as if he had been seen through. A chill ran down his spine. A sixth-grade refining body dares to assassinate my Dingdang. You really don't know how the word death is written. Feng Xinyang grabbed the killer's collar and quickly rushed into the villa. The killer was like a small shrimp, curled up and shivering. Tang Zheng and Yi Dingdang's shoulders were injured, but the injuries were not too serious. After the wounds were treated and bandaged, there were no major problems. Tang Zheng's clothes were stained with blood and could not be worn. He could only bare his arms. When Yi Dingdang saw his bare upper body, her face turned red. She secretly scolded herself. What was there to blush about? But his skin was a light bronze color, his muscles were well proportioned, and he even had a six-pack. He was just like a model on TV. If there's nothing else, I'll leave first. Tang Zhen coldly said. You want to leave like this? Aren't you afraid of being called an exhibitionist? Yi Dingdang mischievously said. It was March and the weather was still a bit cold. A bare upper body outside would definitely not be treated as a good person. Then return my clothes to me. Tang Zhen also felt that it was inappropriate, so he said. There's so much blood, how can you wear it? If the police see it, they will definitely treat you as a murderer. That's my problem. Tang Zhen only wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. Yi Tianlei's questioning attitude made him very unhappy. Wait a bit, I've already asked someone to wash it. Tang Zhen was helpless and could only wait. Seeing him not say a word, Yi Dingdang moved closer. She was really too curious about him. Yi Dingdang lived a good life. Aside from training, she had no interest in learning. She also had no interest in girls' things. Normal things also had a hard time arousing her interest. This time Tang Zhen had aroused her interest, so how could she let him go so easily? Hey, what is your cultivation level? Yi Dingdang curiously asked. Tang Zhen rolled his eyes at her and said, it's rude to ask someone this. What's there to be embarrassed about, stingy? Yi Dingdang pouted and rolled her eyes. I know, don't tell me your cultivation level is too low so you don't want to say it. Tang Zheng's thoughts were seen through and his face turned red. Yi Dingdang's eyes lit up and she excitedly clapped her hands and said, haha, I was right. So your cultivation level really isn't high, deliberately mystifying things, humph. Yi Dingdang had always been brooding about losing to him. It must be known that she had always thought that she was very outstanding. She never thought that she would lose to an unknown person like Tang Zheng. How could she swallow this anger? Even if my cultivation level is low, you are still not my opponent. Tang Zheng replied. Yi Dingdang felt as if someone had grabbed her neck and was immediately speechless. She fiercely glared at him and had to admit that this was an indisputable fact. You are clearly not a prenatal stage martial artist, so how can you know the pressure point technique? Who said that the pressure point technique can only be practiced by prenatal stage martial artists? Is that not the case? No. Tang Zheng silently added in his heart, in fact, cultivators can also practice it. Yi Dingdang sat down and angrily said, you're lying, my dad said that only prenatal stage martial artists can practice it. Then your dad is wrong. Tang Zheng lightly said. You dare say my dad is wrong? Yi Dingdang stared with wide eyes. Everyone makes mistakes. Yi Dingdang coldly snorted and changed the topic, asking, who did you learn your martial arts from? I'm not telling you. Stingy. Then why did you go to ordinary Balance Mountain? I'm not telling you. Yi Dingdang was about to go crazy. Do you know anything else besides this sentence? Tang Zheng was too lazy to pay attention to her and said, are my clothes ready? Not ready. Yi Dingdang angrily said. Miss, the clothes are ready. At this time, a servant came in carrying the clothes. Yi Dingdang fiercely stared at this blind fellow, who came at such a bad time. Tang Zheng proudly smiled and took the clothes, saying, please leave, I want to change. Just change, you've already seen everything. You really want to see? See. Tang Zheng shook his head and said, are you a peeping Tom? It seems that I need to spread this around. Who said I'm a peeping Tom? Yi Dingdang was flustered and exasperated, she felt like she was going to vomit blood. I'm changing, yet you insist on looking. Isn't this peeping Tom? Fine, I won't look. It's so ugly, what's there to look at? Yi Dingdang held back her anger and rushed out. Tang Zheng faintly smiled. Little thing, you want to bicker with me? Making you vomit blood is already light. To be honest, he really wasn't used to changing in front of strangers, especially women. He quickly changed his clothes and went out. He was wearing Pengcheng International School's uniform, not the loose-fitting uniform of a public school. The well-tailored suit set off his figure very well, giving him a bit of a handsome and elegant feeling. Yi Dingdong's eyes lit up, thinking how she didn't notice before that he was actually a little handsome. If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving. My parents want to see you. Tang Zheng frowned, hesitated for a moment, and then agreed. After all, this was the Ye family. If he didn't greet the host and left, it would be impolite. Tang Dehai had taught Tang Zheng the basic principles and etiquette of a person since he was young, which had a great influence on him. Yi Dingdang brought Tang Zheng to the living room. The living room was very large and dazzling, just like a palace. Chapter 17. Tang Zheng was shocked. Her hands were very soft. Although they were not as delicate as Yi Dingdong's, they had a different kind of charm. He was surprised by Feng Xinyang's boldness, but then he heard her say, "Little handsome, thank you for saving our Dingdang. Come and sit down. Have some snacks and drink." She pressed him down on the sofa, and then looked at Yi Tianlei. She shook her head slightly, indicating that she had not found any clues. They had finished interrogating the assassin, but they had not found the real culprit behind the scenes. The assassin was very stubborn, and they had not found the real culprit behind the scenes. The couple was worried. They only had one daughter, Yi Dingdang. If anything happened to her, it would be a devastating blow, so they had to find the real culprit behind the scenes. Tang Zheng's appearance was very sudden, causing people to have no choice but to be suspicious, especially after investigating him and discovering that his life had undergone an earth-shattering change. He should not have been a martial artist, but the strength he displayed was without a doubt that of a martial artist. Moreover, he also knew the pressure point technique. What was even more shocking was that the couple could not see through his cultivation. It was an undeniable truth that people with higher cultivation could see the strength of people with lower cultivation, but it did not apply to Tang Zheng. How could they not be shocked and suspicious? They did not know that warriors and cultivators were two different systems. Of course, they could not see through him. Especially when Feng Xinyang grabbed Tang Zheng's hand just now, she secretly used her internal strength to check his cultivation, but found that it was like a clay ox in the sea. There was no reaction at all. In short, this was the first time the couple had encountered such a situation, and Tang Zheng was involved in the assassination. They had to be careful. If Tang Zheng was really an enemy, it would be troublesome. Feng Xinyang greeted Tang Zheng enthusiastically. She was so enthusiastic that he could not resist. She kept calling him "little handsome," which made him blush. Yi Dingdang angrily rolled her eyes at her mother, but there was nothing she could do. Her mother was like that. Feng Xinyang inquired about his well-being, from his school life to his daily routine, as if she was looking for a son-in-law. Her gaze was so hot that Tang Zheng couldn't bear it. He felt like he was sitting on pins and needles, and he couldn't wait to leave this place as soon as possible. Why were rich people so troublesome? "Little handsome, I've heard the story of how you saved our Dingdang. It was really thrilling. You're really amazing." Feng Xinyang patted her towering chest, a lingering fear in her heart as she said, "I heard that you also know the pressure point technique, so you must have a master guiding you. We want to thank your master. After all, without him teaching such an outstanding disciple like you, our family's Dingdang would have been in danger today. Madam Yi, my master is like a wild crane wandering the clouds. His whereabouts are unpredictable. I don't know where he is either." Tang Zheng had no choice but to fabricate a master. Otherwise, it wouldn't make sense and would only arouse suspicion. "AI, it really is a pity. It seems like he's an expert. How should I address him?" Tang Zheng shook his head. "He didn't tell me." "What sect is it?" "He didn't say. He only said that we were brought together by fate, so he taught me martial arts. I'll take the liberty to ask again. What is your current cultivation level? I can't even see through it." Several people stared at Tang Zheng with shining eyes, clearly curious about his cultivation level. Tang Zheng hesitated. If he didn't tell them his cultivation level, it would definitely arouse their curiosity and suspicion. Right now, his time was precious and he didn't have the heart to deal with other matters. Moreover, from their eyes, he could see that they were suspicious of him. In order to wash away their suspicion, he truthfully said, equivalent to a first-grade refining body. What, first-grade refining body? The three people stood up at the same time, looking at him as if they were looking at an alien. A first-grade refining body was able to suppress a sixth-grade refining body. Moreover, he even knew the prenatal stage's pressure point technique. Was this a dream? This was beyond common sense. Tang Zheng, so you were actually a first-grade refining body. Yet you pretended to be so strong and deliberately bullied me. Yi Dingdang was so angry that she directly jumped up. A first-grade refining body meant that one had just stepped into the threshold of a martial artist. She actually lost to a newcomer. If this could be tolerated, what could be tolerated? Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang looked at each other. The shock in their hearts was no less than Yi Dingdang's. However, they considered more. A first-grade refining body practicing the pressure point technique was unheard of. Moreover, he could even hide his cultivation level. This showed that his master was an expert. If this kind of person wanted to kill Yi Dingdang, they wouldn't even have the strength to fight back. Why would they send Tang Zheng to participate in this? Thus, Tang Zheng was innocent. The two blamed themselves. Yi Tianlei sternly said, Tang Zheng, I misunderstood you before. I'm sorry. Saying this, he cupped his hands towards Tang Zheng. Yi Dingdang stared dumbfoundedly at her father. What was wrong with her father? Why did he muster so many people and even apologize to him? It must be known that Yi Tianlei had an unbending character. Making him apologize was harder than ascending to the heavens. She didn't know what her parents were thinking. Even though Tang Zheng's cultivation level was low, he had a good master. The Ye family definitely couldn't become enemies with this kind of person. Tang Zheng felt a lot better. He wasn't an unforgiving type of person. He waved his hand and said, it's fine. Feng Xinyang smiled and said, this time it's all thanks to little handsome brother's help. If you have any requests, we will do our best to fulfill them. Yi Dingdang curiously looked at him. His family was poor. With her mother's words, he could reach the heavens in one step and live a rich life. No need. Tang Zheng flatly refused. He wasn't moved in the slightest. A gentleman loves money. He was poor, but he wouldn't be poor his whole life. Relying on other people's charity wasn't as good as earning his own money. Moreover, when he saved people, he didn't think of asking for anything in return. In addition, his top priority was to save his grandfather. The Ye family wouldn't be able to help. Yi Tianlei and Feng Xinyang couldn't hide their astonishment. Facing such a good opportunity and not being moved, it could be seen that this child's heart was firm. The most important thing for a martial artist was to have a firm heart. Perhaps his future achievements wouldn't be low. Hee, since it's like this, then we won't force you. Seeing that you were in a hurry to go home, I'll send a car to send you back. Thank you. Yi Dingdang disappointedly looked at his back as he left. She pouted and said, Heng, acting all high and mighty. Letting go of such a good opportunity, what a fool. Hee, my Dingdang, you're the foolish girl. Feng Xinyang walked over and rubbed her head, this little handsome brother isn't simple. I see that you have a bit of conflict with him. Remember to restrain your big missy temper and get along well with him. How is he handsome? I think he's ugly to death. Yi Dingdang unhappily said. Really? I think he's quite handsome. Dingdang, is he chasing you? How could that be? There are plenty of people like him in our school, and there are plenty who are more outstanding than him. Even if he chases after me, I wouldn't even fancy him. Yi Dingdang felt as if someone had stepped on her sore spot as she said in shock. Feng Xinyang mischievously winked and said, "Oh, really? Then why did someone follow him to Ordinary Balance Mountain?" "Feng Xinyang, I'm not going to talk to you anymore." Yi Dingdang stomped her feet and ran back to her room with a red face. Feng Xinyang smiled and looked at Yi Tianlei and said, "Tianlei, do you think this girl has fallen for that brat? I've never seen her so attentive to anyone." "Impossible, Dingdang's heart is higher than the sky. She wouldn't like an ordinary person." Feng Xinyang rolled her eyes and meaningfully said, "He's not an ordinary person. Hee, this girl is really like me when I was young. She dares to love and hate. She's much more obedient than you were when you were young." "What, you're saying that I was very wild when I was young?" Feng Xinyang angrily glared and was about to flip out. Yi Tianlei knew that he had said something wrong. He bitterly smiled and quickly changed the topic. "Dingdang is in danger right now. I don't have time to take care of her. You have to take this responsibility." Feng Xinyang nodded, "Of course. If it wasn't for me, her mother, protecting her, then who would expect you to do it?" If you want to kill my daughter, you'll have to get through me first." When Tang Zheng returned home, the sky was already dark. He didn't find anything today, but he wasn't discouraged. However, he only had half a day every week before he could go look for the heaven-fragrant flower. Time was too tight. There are still 20 days. I have to break through my cultivation and find the heaven-fragrant flower during this time. Tang Zheng clenched his teeth and secretly swore. "Brat, it's not that I want to discourage you, but today I observed the situation of Ordinary Balance Mountain. The spirit qi is thin, so there might not be the heaven-fragrant flower." Tian Chanzi said. "We didn't finish looking for that cliff. It's the same whether we finish looking for it or not. The growth of the heaven-fragrant flower requires sufficient spirit qi. Ordinary Balance Mountain doesn't have this condition. No, I have to go look for it again. This time we're only at the top of the mountain, so I can only see a few dozen meters. I have to go deeper to look for it. Brat, you're courting death. With your current cultivation, if you're not careful and fall off the cliff, you'll definitely die. If I can't save Grandpa, what's the use of me living alone?" Tang Zheng was very stubborn. He had to save his grandpa. Tian Chanzi was speechless, "Then prepare the rope. We'll go again next week." Dong dong. There was a knock on the door. "Who is it?" Tang Dahai went to open the door in puzzlement. The two of them didn't have any relatives. With a creak, the door opened. Tang Dahai was shocked and couldn't help but take a few steps back. He exclaimed, "Why is it you guys? Why are you guys here again? If you want to vent your anger, then hit me. Don't hurt my grandson." When Tang Zheng heard these words, his anger surged. Who was it that didn't open their eyes? Could it be the people who came to smash things last time? He angrily rushed out and was met with a few familiar faces. Lin Hu, Dong Zi, and a few other unfamiliar faces. "Little Zheng, hurry and run. I'll hold them back." Tang Dahai didn't know where he got the strength, but he suddenly exploded. He stretched out his arms to block everyone and shouted in panic. Lin Hu and the others looked at each other in dismay. They really didn't know what was going on. "Old man, we're here to find your grandson," Lin Hu politely said. "I know. If there's anything you guys can come at me. You can hit me or scold me, but please don't hurt my grandson." Tang Dahai bitterly begged. Tang Zheng felt a pain in his chest. He jumped in front of his grandpa to protect him. Tang Dahai was anxious and kept tugging at him, telling him to hurry and run. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.